All right. Got an echo. Everything should be good now. What's up, folks? What up, what up, what up? Ahoy, Piratey Steve. Ahoy. So we did get confirmation today for anybody who's tuning in early. Now, we did get confirmation today about the tailgate, apparently. Yo, what's up, Mr. Malicious? I don't know that I saw it, but maybe it's on the schedule somewhere. Just in time. What's up, Summer? Yeah, you got here just as we started. How we doing, folks? Let's see. Let's see if I can see an official post of some kind. I know Daniel said earlier, what's up, Taryn? That it was confirmed, but I don't recall seeing anything. So what's up, P-Man? But I believe him, and I'm sure he saw it somewhere. What's up, Double? But he said the tailgate is confirmed for next week, next Tuesday. Which, I mean, we kind of already knew. Like, I think most of us were like, okay, it wasn't on their schedule this week. They're going to do a tailgate. That's when it's going to be. But we hadn't seen anything official. Oh, email notification. Sure, Thursday. Email. Why didn't I see that? Let me check the 3 different emails I have. I don't see it on any of them. I wonder why I didn't get the yeah. What's up, Starry? What's up, Sunken? What's up, Vlad? Yeah, for whatever reason, I did not get the email stating that it was going to happen. Never mind. I see it in the thing from yesterday. The fireside chat email says no campaign for this week, but mark your calendars for Tuesday, May 19th at 7 p.m. Pacific. We will be going live for a Schemers Table tailgate and nightcap hosted by Whitney Moore. I see it. Yep. Quirky, welcome in. Dr. Calvin, yeah. So next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Schemers tailgate. We will get that. So now we know. Now we know. Jalovai. Is that the right way to say the Jalovai? Announcement during crap. I don't know what crap is. Is that like the ad segment between the things or something? Either way, yeah, it's now there. We now know. So we're good on that. We are good on that. Also, if you guys didn't know, there's actually a cool section here. If you go to like the official critroll.com and then you go to campaign 4, there's some tabs, and one of them is lore, and it has the general like timeline that we got where it shows like the Shaper's War, Age of Mortals, all that stuff. So like nothing new. The announcement playhouse. Yeah, that's what. Okay, yeah. So that ad section thing. That's all there. And then there's also. Oh, there's actually some more stuff in here. Hold on. There's a thing. I don't know if we've seen this before. We might have. But it says, the Shaper's War. 80 years ago, the orcs rose up against their cruel god Azgra, slaying him with the newly forged pariah blades. When the other Shapers rose up to defend Azgra, many mortals instead allied with their orcish brethren and turned against their gods. The fighting lasted for a decade, until the last Shaper, Salandri, was slain in year 1 of what is now known as the Age of Mortals. I don't remember seeing that. Actually. That specific document. Change of power. 37 years after the fall of the Shapers and the unification of the Sundered Houses, a war over political boundaries erupted across Pazitar. The 8-year conflict, known as the War of Axe and Vine, reshaped the continent, carving new nations from old borders. Timony, Balladry, Thake, Ledlow, Atlaron, Makara, Equilane, and Rusk. I never heard of these places. Like, this is right here on their website. Are you guys familiar with any of this? Thake, Ledlow, Atlaron, Makara, Equilane. A decade of uneasy peace followed. Then, in the year 54, a revolution rose against the Sundered Houses and the institutions that sustained them. The Falconers' Rebellion burned for 5 years before it was finally crushed, and in its failure, the Sundered Houses emerged not merely intact, but stronger than before. What's up, Emma? You're all done. Hopefully the first minute. Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully. I'm discovering lore stuff that I had never seen. The War of Axe and Vine. A war for political... I don't know why I'm doing it over here when I can just move it here and not be facing away. The War of Axe and Vine. A war for political boundaries that set the borders of Pacitar's nations. All 5 Sundered Houses were aligned, and by now, Taconis had regained its power due to the overwhelming amount of trapped souls in the underworld. The Falconers' Rebellion. A failed uprising against the new nation states formed during the War of Axe and Vine. All 5 Sundered Houses were aligned against the rebellion. Okay. The Sundered Houses. The Sundered Houses are the 5 noble houses that make up the Chamber of Lords Advisory that advises the Revolutionary Council, the governing body of Dalmakiar. These houses are House Taconis, House Halavor, House Cormoray, House Einfaz, and House Royce. These are the houses that allied together after the Shapers' War due to the sizable loss of their individual ancestral homelands. Despite this alliance, the houses are often at odds with one another. This is all, like, this is not stuff they've published anywhere else. The Shapers' War. The war against the Shapers. The priestly house of Taconis Halavar stayed loyal to the Shapers. The rebel houses of Cormoray, Royce, and Einfossen fought against the Shapers. In the aftermath, Taconis and Halavar were heavily weakened. All 5 houses had to navigate the loss of their ancestral land, so the rebel houses joined with the priestly houses to aid them. This is the formation of the Sundered Houses. And then it goes into the individual things about all the different houses that we already know and saw. That's interesting. Oh, there's even lore about, like, the places. Dalmakiar, a city of shields. A city in eastern Kahad that is built into the base and side of the Karozi Mountains, causing the city to slope the length of the mountain. The river Vrash splits the city, with 2/3 to the west and 1/3 to the east, then feeds into Lake Nahami. This city was the site of the first battles of the Shapers' War. Didn't know that. Well, I guess it makes sense with the orcs. When the orcs rose up against Asgra, the god of war. Now the city is a thriving metropolis governed by the Revolutionary Council as advised by the Chambers of Lords Advisory. The The Hallowed Round, an ancient open-air amphitheater at the base of Dalmakiar that once was the seat of forced worship for Asgra, the cruel god of orcs. It was disguised for decades after the Shapers' War, but was recently given to Hallandil Feng to become a theater for all to enjoy. Sorry, I need to post in Discord that I'm live. So I'm like reading to you guys. This is all new stuff to me. So that was the Hallowed Round. The Pentevral. Dalmakiar's school of magic. Before the fall of the gods, magic was limited to worshippers of the divine and powerful bloodlines, but now it can be accessed by anyone willing to learn. While students must pay to attend, the bursar, Murray Magnesson, is always ready to help anyone who needs funds for their studies. Currently, the Pentevral is under a regime change with the new Dean Cora, crazy last name, leading the charge. Her last name is Keplin Weisrick. I guess it's not as crazy as I thought when I saw it. The Arcanaut, a museum of revolutionary history and the arcane, in which artifacts are carefully preserved and showcased within its many circular wings. The Loy Wing, curated by Belair Lethalia, is dedicated to the history of the Shapers' War. Though many of the artifacts on display are the genuine article, the museum is careful to keep its most prized possessions under archival lock and key. Dude, are you live right now or what? Yes, I am. Marsha, yes. Oh, Pico. Hello, Pico. The Seven Stars, a large and beautiful tavern in the Rookery, with white halls and dark wooden beams, with a private aviary located at the top of the stairs. The Seven Stars is a place of revelry, but there is also espionage within its walls. There is no episode today, Seabass. No episode today. Belair, Hal, Murray, and Azune used the aviary of the Seven Stars as a base camp. Yep, know that. The Falcon's Rest, a monument to the fallen of Dalmakiar during the Falconers' Rebellion. It stands near the Great Tower at the top of the city. Azune and Ayar visits Falcon's Rest frequently to memorialize and honor the fallen of a war he himself survived. All right. I mean, there might be stuff in there worth making like a video about. Honestly, there's new lore in this. I'm surprised that we have, like, nobody's been told about this little spot to check for lore. That's pretty cool. Where am I reading from? This is just on the website. I'll link it. But there's some little bits and pieces of lore in there that are not available like anywhere else, as far as I know. They definitely haven't told us. So just a fun fact, there's literally a lore tab there that you could do. Hey, Bound Bob, gifting. Who the heck is Bound Bob? Thanks for the 5 gifted memberships. Heck yeah. If you've received a gift membership, please go ahead and say thank you to Bound Bob. I didn't see anything for Reapers. I basically just read you everything that was there. So yeah, there's not anything else on there that I didn't already read. Yo, what's up, Dispel? Where's our map? Yeah, there hasn't been any maps. But yeah, that's just cool that there's that extra lore that I had no idea. Like, we know all the different nations that were made. Like, that's incredible. Again, if you received one of these 5 gifted memberships from Bound Bob, go ahead and throw a thank you out there. Bound Bob 07. Really appreciate that. Thank you. Yo, what's up, Allie? Did I say hey, Dispel? What's up, Dispel? Dan says, I missed the middle weeks of the Schemer's arc and yet to catch up. What events happened to make the Schemers favorable towards King Gus? Well, he was already seen as pretty positive. I mean, he was like a man of the people. He was, on, during the War of Axe and Vine, where he kind of got to become king of Timony and all that sort of stuff. And then they were also, I don't know if they were told, but we definitely found out throughout the campaign that he hung out with the people. I think Hal learned that, like, he wanted to be able to go talk to the real folks of Damakiar, not just the nobles, and they sent him to the 7 stars and all that sort of stuff. He just seemed like a down-to-earth soldier who became a king. And so that's why they were a fan of him. But it's not like some huge thing that they experienced. They like hang out and they talk to him a little bit. And that's basically it. So, yeah. Let me some lore. Yeah, that was super cool. Some of you might have just missed it, but there's some lore on the Critical Role website that they have not told us at all. So that's pretty cool. I just happened to like be looking at the thing and clicked on it and was like, huh? Yeah, pretty rad. Pretty rad. Knew that lore was there. Exactly. That's super cool. I mean, the most interesting bits, definitely the fact that we know about, which I don't know if we probably already knew that Salandri was the last god killed, but to me, the part where we now know that the carving new nations from old borders, Timony, Beladri, Fake, Ledlow, Alteron, or Atlaron, Makara, Equilane, and Rusk, like, that's all new. So that's pretty rad. All right, let me catch up on some of these messages here so I don't fall behind. Most of the Shapers really controlled the people. Yeah. Has it been determined how Wakander's a clockwork sorcerer? Was his grandfather a clockwork entity? No. I think it's just, like, using clockwork subclass and flavoring it somewhat differently, which I don't mind at all. It's just like he's using the mechanics of a clockwork sorcerer and he kind of has his own identity with it, I guess. Yo, what's up? Yet it is. Did I miss? I thought I saw Bob say something. Have I just not got? Oh, there it is. Thanks for the gift membership. Yeah, I've been watching for a while, lurking. Your content is awesome. Would it help out? Appreciate it, Bound Bob. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Yo, what's up, Edwin? Jellevi says, still am hoping to see the map of Campaign 4. Seen some cool fan-made ones. Yeah, I think we're getting closer to one. I wouldn't be surprised if they revealed a map, like, within a month or two. I think we're getting close. I think they're still ironing stuff out. Or at least we'll get one of maybe, like, the region. Like, the specific place that they're in, even if it's not a full world map. Nikki, what's up? Got behind a bit on the show and just caught up last night. Bummer not a show tonight, but I love the Schemers table so much. Their final comment was my favorite so far. So fun and cinematic. Yeah, I should have, honestly, I should do a video talking about why it was so good, which I've talked about on my live stream before. The thing that made it so good for so many people, even those who aren't like combat lovers, is because it was a combat that was so much broader in its scope. right? The way that it was able to tie in big twists and moments and small, like it was a lot. It was a lot of different stuff, and that helped a combat seem to be a much larger thing than just a fight. King Gus, they met his sister and the dogs. Yep, they did that. Haven't looked on the CR website. Oh yeah, I already read that. Vlad says amazing interview with Louise. Really hope you two will get to chat a lot more times in the future. Yeah, it would be awesome. I think he'd be down for sure. We're gonna give it some time. For sure, we're gonna give it some time. But I wouldn't be surprised if, like, in a couple of months we sat down and chat again. Yeah, I'd love to get some other folks. It's been there since the start of the campaign. It's been yeah, that's what I'm saying is I think, like, originally it didn't really have much on it. Maybe some stuff about, like, the characters, but that was basically it. So it's really cool that they've added to it. What's up, Large McBottoms?
What?
Murrian, thanks for Merlin, thanks for the follow over on Twitch. Appreciate that. Double says, I wonder how Gus is going to see the Photarch now. Will her show change any of his feeling towards the Creed? I think that's going to depend on if he believes the other people. Adeline Lee, thanks for the follow on Twitch. Yeah, I think that's going to depend on that stuff. Chicken Wizard, what's up? Doing any more explosive dwarf game? Maybe on a random off day. Not during, like, something like this. Adeline on Twitch says, can someone tell Bria that she's not GM anymore? I don't know what you mean. She's not GMing. I follow you on TikTok. Oh, sweet. Merlin, heck yeah. I appreciate it. I'm normally, when I do these, I'm live on TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube. YouTube is always the most populated. So right now there's 70 people watching on YouTube. So if you're ever looking, you can see all the chats over here. And I always, for some reason, this always happens. How do I get chat settings? It's not showing. Where is it? Oh no, what did I just do? Where did all the chats go? Oh, that's why. Whoops. I had something on before. Oh, here it is. Show platform back. Oh, platform icons. Yeah, so it should be that. I don't know why it resets. But yeah, that way you can see who's talking where. So always something to do there. Yeah. When is Soldier Stable coming back? John Craig says on TikTok. We don't know. I'm going to assume when they do this, sort of everybody comes together, that they'll just start with the same cycle, but maybe they don't, right? Maybe they all come together for the convergence and then they just start with the Seekers or something. No idea. Yo, what's up, Daniel? No idea, but there's a decent chance after they do a couple episodes with everybody together, which is what we're coming back to on May 21st, that then we'll go back to them. I know I skipped ahead quite a bit. There was a video on YouTube on the lore, I think last week. It was very informative. Oh, really? Do you know who it was? Oh, you don't remember who made it? Okay. Seen you on D&D Discord. Yo, what's up, Matchstick Malone? Yeah, I've been on the D&D Discord. Do we have a campaign 4 stream tonight? We do not, Joey. No, we do not. No, we do not. Where did you see me on the D&D Discord? Like I commented something, or does it say I'm live or something? I wouldn't think so, right? I'm guessing it's just that. Maybe like in the Dungeon Masters chat. We probably get maps and lore Keeper Legend in the coming months. Yeah, it's possible, but I don't know that that's something went to lock behind, right? Like I'm not sure that's something they would do. Would have loved to see the Hounds in actual combat action. They were taken out. I know it was kind of disappointing that it was like, oh, they're so awesome, and then immediately you're like, oh, we don't actually get to see them do anything. Who would be your dream CR member to interview? Matt, because he's somebody that is similar to Louise. I think I could nerd out with Matt. I said this last night. We were doing the Dungeon Masters watch party, and then we continued to talk for like 3 hours after that. Maybe not 3 hours, but 2. And you know, I interviewed Louise, and the reason it was so awesome, which those of you who haven't seen it yet, it went super well. The chemistry was awesome. We had a great time, good conversation. Is because we're both D&D lovers and nerds about it. I'm not sure that I can sit down with Ashley Johnson or somebody else and nerd out about Dungeons and Dragons, right? I don't know. Don't get me wrong. Like but it makes me slightly nervous because like they may not care as much about that as Louise does. So, but I'd love to either way. But Matt, I think I could do that. Or Brennan. I could definitely do it with Brennan. Murray saved his life and the king knows it, so anything he tells him is likely going to believe. Yeah, I'm with that. I can't see Gus ever trusting the Photruck. She's evil and he knows it. I agree with that. Chat rolled a nat 20 stealth check. Yeah. Yeah, Jacob, there's no Critical Role live stream today. No live stream. They're off this week. For those of you who don't know, they've already stated this is going to happen. After each arc ends, they're going to take a week off. So Soldier's arc, week off. Seeker's arc, week off. Schemer's arc, week off. And then there will also be the random weeks they take off for holidays, events like the charity stream, stuff like that. Yeah. Oh, I think I watched it. I mean, it was very surface level because we don't know that much about it, Quirky Geek Girl. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw that. I mean, it's pretty much what I think all of us should know if you watch it. But yeah. Yo, what's up, Tahoe? I can see we may split to 2 table instead of 3. I don't know if they would make that change. Even if I would love it. I don't think they'll make that change. Paul says, I think the Schemers thread has been great, but they had one less challenge than the other 2 parties had. They didn't have to travel or interact with the environment or the challenge of the road. Completely true. Completely true. It was a very different group. And we've also touched on how, like, they all knew each other already, so it wasn't like they were also trying to formulate chemistry and relationships as people in the game. And they're also 3 original cast members and 1 person who fits in really well and who has been a part of other projects with them. So they had a lot going for them. It was the most chilled, relaxed, warm interview I've seen about Critical Campaign 4. Yeah, I loved it. I did. I really, really did. It was a great time. I think we had great chemistry with it. He gave super awesome in-depth answers. It was fantastic. And the goal was for it to be a conversation, which I was a little nervous about. If you guys don't remember, some of you were here when I talked about that I was nervous about interviewing him because I wanted it to be the 2 of us kind of nerding out and talking. And I was worried people would just want it to be like, I ask him a question, he answers, then I ask a question and he answers without like a sort of back and forth. And it became a bit more of like a back and forth. And I really enjoyed that. I was hoping that at some point we can get a rumble between the tables like Vox Machina versus Mighty Nine. That would be fun. That could be interesting. I think with Liam you could. Yeah, maybe. Louise and Brennan's recent bit about the rule of cool was very funny. Did I see that? Was it the D&D Discord or did they see your question during the fireside? I think they meant the D&D Discord. Yeah, I mean, I think my question came at a bad time, and also they basically just said no, right? Like, they do not watch content around Critical Role. Is kind of what they answered, because that's what I asked, right? I basically said, you know, do you guys watch content around Critical Role? Like, do they watch breakdowns, reactions, interviews, and stuff? And they're basically like, no. Yeah. Unpopular opinion. I like Dungeon Masters more than Critical Role. Feels more like D&D to me. Well, they're both D&D. It might feel more like the D&D that you play. That's valid, right? Different strokes for different folks. For instance, Legends of Evantris is heavy on bits, right? They do a lot of bits. It's very humor focused, very silly. So that's how some people play. That is how some people play all the time. That's their version of D&D. People are going to gravitate towards that. Now you have more people who are more of that like performance role play. They're going to gravitate probably more towards campaign for Critical Role, and then you're going to have people who play a little more middle ground, standard, and maybe they go to Dungeon Masters. I'm with you though. I watch Dungeon Masters every Wednesday. We actually do a watch party. I'm a part of the D&D creator program, and I have permission to live stream it while it's airing, and so I watch Dungeon Masters every week. So feel free to comment in on that too. I see Nikki skipping to the bottom. I've been watching Natural 6. It's really good. I watched Natural 6 when it launched. I watched like 6 or 7 episodes and I fell out of it, but it wasn't because of them. I actually think it was great. I think Natural 6 is really, really good as another actual play. But let me jump back up. Plus a little extra time for recovery and to work on things. True. Have you thought about a ranking for the tables, not just characters? I have. I've thought about doing a video for that, but I'm always worried, again, I talked about this last night, that I'm just making content that is the same thing that I already made. Like, if you watch any of my live streams, you know how I feel about the tables. And so it's a little tough because I'm like, oh, I would like to make that video. But then I'm also like, are people just going to be like, okay, this is like, I already knew this? I don't know. So I'm torn because I have ideas. Sure, I'd love to, you know, make a video that's just like, here's why I liked these guys and not those guys. But everybody knows I didn't like the Seekers, right? So. B. Denny says, I think the Photarch will use a resurrection stone to depose the king. The Photarch resurrection stone. What? We could rank the tables right now. We did that, Astri. We had a whole stream dedicated to ranking. You were here for that, weren't you? Maybe you missed the beginning. We did the table rankings at the beginning. We did it in 2 different ways. We did it like, which table did you like more, then which table had the best like story arc. Forgot they're taking a week off. Yep. Emma says, I think Grandma's going to make Hal change the play to reenact her resurrection. That in a day? You're going to have to redo the whole plan in a day? That's cool, man. I will check out a Dungeon Masters watch party sometime. Seems like every time I open YouTube, you're streaming something. Busy guy. I'm trying, dude. I want this whole content thing to work out so bad. I'm doing everything I can. Let's see. I don't think they could change the play that drastically the day before. Exactly. Yeah, I don't think that could happen. Bound Bob says, personally love that interview. Would love to see more of those in the future. I'd love to do them. I think my plan is I'm going to do some more reaching out in different ways. And even through Louise to say, hey, can you put me in contact with the PR person that handles this? Because I've never been a part of any lists. I know other people get regular, like the character sheet has regular interviews with them. I'm whatever he has access to, I don't. So I'm going to try to get that so I can get some more people. And I'm going to be able to provide great feedback. The comments on my YouTube video about how awesome that interview is speaks for itself. People want more of that. So hopefully I'll get some more opportunities. Was just thinking when she said she needed to check the subject matter over with them. Yeah. I do think that she will maybe want to censor it, you know, suggest some changes for sure. Gus and Murray sitting in a tree. What's up, Mama Hun? Dr. Caliban says, watching Dungeon Masters this week, I felt Neil was making a lot of good mechanics-based decisions as well as his character play. I would love to see him guest on. Yeah, I think I said this last night watching it. I was like, he's way more in the zone now. I think he's become more comfortable. I think he's caught on a little bit more. Yeah, I agree. I think Neil's doing probably the best job at the table. I think Mayana is up there too. With that, yeah, it's cool. And Alex has been nice at the table too. For those of you who don't know, Alex Ward is also on Dungeon Masters right now, the new D&D actual play. So I have some content out around that if you guys want to check that out. I wonder if the Critical Role team were testing the water somewhat with schemers versus seekers versus soldiers, like seeing fan reactions for a table of 3 OG cast members, schemers versus seekers with only 1 or 2-ish. Maybe. Christopher says, popular opinion, I do not like the constant change of cameras in Dungeon Masters. Yeah, I don't know if it's popular or unpopular. I think most people don't care, and some people care one way or the other. It doesn't bother me so much. But you are not the only person I've heard say that, but I think you're only like the second person I've heard say that. But I'm sure you're not the only two, but I don't think it's like a massive amount that people are like, I hate this thing. But I get it. I get it. Back here, I meant to be like the stream over there too. Thanks, Biko. Appreciate that. Yet it is says, it definitely bothers me when people put one actual play show against another. Just because something resonates or doesn't resonate with you personally doesn't make it objectively better or worse. Yeah, and that's what I was saying. Oh, you missed the beginning, Astray. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, and that's what I mean is like, you know, Legends of Evantris is great in its own right, and it is perfect for people who like that type of game. And then Critical Role is great for what it is, and you know, like Dungeon Masters is for what it is, and so there's a variety in these, and you can find the game that fits you best. You know, yeah. Nikki says, I was really frustrated with schemers when they didn't use their kidnapped rescued student to make the glyphs for them. True. Like just leave them with Dimitis. He might not have the skills to make them just the spells, but yeah, you like load up his spell slots. That'd be crazy. Winclair says, loved the close-up of the board during combat at episode 25 and camera angles I could actually make up. Yeah, so I didn't even realize some of that had happened until I was editing my thing with it. I had the B-roll, and there were these views where like they were like taking you down the hallway and like around corners and stuff with the camera for like the mini setup. Oh, it looked really good. Really, really good. Pirate Steve says, Photark may be in a meeting with Primus Taconis and the other heads of the Sunder houses at the time of the play. That's true, but she wants to meet with Hal, or wanted to meet with Hal before, but maybe now she'll be on bed rest because she was resurrected. I'm late. It's all good, Steven. Welcome in, dude. Didn't compare them really, just don't like political intrigue in D&D really, and a world with gods, monsters. I've seen, you've actually said this before. I've seen that comment, whether it's on my video or somebody else's. Yeah, it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. It's also like the schemers are the ones that are super in political intrigue. The other ones have political elements, but there's still gods and monsters and world-altering events that are tied to those things. So, yeah. And thanks, Dispel. Appreciate it. Chris says, maybe it's because I prefer theater to movies. Dungeon Masters is cinema-like. Sierra's non-edited theater. Yeah, I mean, Dungeon Masters is supposed to be its own thing. I've spoken with, like, the head of marketing at D&D on Monday. I've talked to the people who handle influencers. They did not make this to compete with anybody. Like, Dungeon Masters did not come out to compete with Critical Role or D20 or any of that. They honestly are like, that has nothing to do with this. Yeah. Yo, what's up, Dane? People are allowed to have opinions. Absolutely, Sean. Absolutely. What's up, Cameron? Also welcome in, Sean. Wonder what Hal's play will be and if he and others will perform it. Or perform in it. If the Photark forces how to change the play, could be a big FU for the play to rewrite history. The rebellion succeeds. Yeah, we don't know exactly what the play is about, like the details of it, I don't think. If Levidity could meet Octus, what would that encounter be like? I think Levidity would scare the crap out of Octus for a second, unless Octus has those like, because Octus still kind of hit or miss with whether or not he's like, I'm me, I'm a strong, independent boy, and then the times where he's like a shy little thing. So I think it depends on the version. But the soft version of him, Levidity scares and probably kills. I enjoy the camera switch and the dice cam. The sound effects, however, hit or miss. I think that's fair. Quirky Geek Girl says, I'm really enjoying Vampire the Masquerade on Dimension 20 right now. Yeah, I know Daniel's enjoying that as well. Yo, what's up, Sherry? So all the Shapers are bad, presumably. Not necessarily. I don't think that all of them are necessarily bad. I think it just came to where, like, the Orc one was definitely outright bad and was like, no, I want you guys, like, your afterlife is going to be suffering. And then the, when the Orcs, no. The Orcs rebelled against Asgra. And then when all the other gods backed Asgra, their followers, the other humanoids, were like, yo, what the heck? Like, no. And so they sided with the Orcs, and that's what pinned them against each other. I don't think it was outright like, you know, the elves felt that their god was bad to them, or that the humans felt their god was bad to them. Maybe there were moments, maybe there was some of that, but it was really just that, like, the gods took the sides of the gods, and the humanoids took the side of the humanoids. And it basically just started because of the Asgra orc battle, because everybody recognized Asgra was a bad dude. And then they were like, wait, why would you defend him? Like, he's bad to the orcs. He's bad to his followers. And then that led to that. That's my understanding of it. What's up, Mitchell? NERDCORE, if you wouldn't mind answering my question I had at the end of Tuesday's stream, any questions or moments you would like to discuss during this gamer's first tailgate? Anything I would like discussed at the tailgate? I'm sure, like, if you asked me, like, if I had the day to think about it or the night, I would probably have a bunch of stuff, but for some reason, nothing is coming to me that I'm like particularly like, I want to know this about the schemers. I'd like to know more about Murray's background, her family. I'd like to know more about Murray's family, but I don't know if they would get into that in the tailgate. I don't know that there were a lot of things about. I'd like to know more about the masks with Belair. Like, did his sister, like, did Termina, was the whole point that the other mask distracted and Termina held? Was the other masks weakened and then Termina held? Like, I want to know more about that. Mama Hunt says, NERDCORE, I got an idea for you. Going to put it on Patreon. All right, sounds good. Steven says, I suspect that the soldiers will return first and the Seekers will show up at the end of the Altogether episode. The first one, yeah. Jeff Hardy says, I haven't been able to watch much other actual play except the Deborah Ann Wall because she is awesome. She is fantastic, simply because of the time investment. So it's been CR content for me mostly. Jeff Hardy, and this is one of the reasons I've been telling people about the Dungeon Masters one. The episodes are short. It's not a massive commitment. The episode last night was 1 hour and 6 minutes. The longest episode, so out of 5 episodes, the longest one was 1 hour and 40 minutes, but that was only one of them. And the other 3 are like 1 hour 5 to 1 hour 15 max. So they're relatively short, easy to get into. So that might be something if you want to try something else, Jeff Hardy, that might be something. Double says, I can't do most of Legends of Evantress, and the one campaign I was into got moved to space. Yeah, again, they're quirky. They do wild stuff. Daniel says the Shapers aren't necessarily all evil, but they are self-interested and they stick together against mortals. Yeah, that's what makes them the enemy of the mortal races. Yep. Worlds of Chaos says, plus Dungeon Masters is only 1 hour long and straight to the point. Yep, that's exactly what I was just talking about. Nikki says, so we know more about the paint, but it's the mystery that keeps on giving. I don't think we will know until the play unless I miss the clues. Yeah, I don't think we'll know until the play. Like, officially. Terrence says, cameras in episode 25 reminded me a lot of the way D20 shows battle maps in CR. Yeah. What's up, Anonymous? Dungeon Masters was designed to sell their upcoming season of horror content. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that is a big part of it. Yeah. It was designed as a way to showcase some of the new content and also introduce people to D&D to build more players and Dungeon Masters. So, I mean, it's multifaceted. It's not like they just said, this is a marketing item. It was like, what are all the things we can do with this? Like, if we made this tool, what can we do with it? And those were all the things that they could do with it. But yes, it is 100% also marketing. Octus could roll another nat 20 intimidation. True. City Council of Darkness is lots of fun. Bat Child and Darkness Man are my favorites right now. Yeah, it was the alliance to Asgra that turned humanity against the gods. Exactly, Trex. Welcome in. Yep. I'm curious how many Shapers are actually alive or somewhere between life and death. I'd say at least one, but probably a few. I'm thinking Rawin for sure. Not all mortals sided with mortals. Some, like Valus, fought on the side of the Shapers. True. Yeah, not even just that. I mean, House Daconis and House Halavar. And the other 2 houses, also fought for them, but the other 2 died fighting for Tanzul, whereas the Halavars of Takona survived but were like greatly weakened. Yeah, there were others that fought on that side. Yeah. Dimension 20, yeah, I think they're firing on all cylinders this season. Zach eating his horse just floored me. What's up, Boneyard? Why did Tal think it was a good idea to kick Lady Cormorant? I don't think he realized just how powerful like the heads of these houses are. So it was nice of Brendan to be like, hey, dude, yeah, she'll kill you. Like, you don't win that one. You do not win that one. Trek says, I want the schemers to theorize more on the primordial evil beneath the hallowed round, or what Belair thinks it is. Where he like sensed something. We could use more answers about the lore surrounding the paint. Yeah, but I think if we're gonna get that, like that's something that I like is coming. I don't think they're gonna do like talk about those things in the tailgate, because that's like not the point of it, right? It's more about like talking about all the different things that happened during it versus answer questions about things they want to reveal in the future. Plus, we don't know if Brennan's gonna be there. He may or may not be there, right? It might just be the players, but we'll see. Christopher says, I liked all tables, but I felt the Seekers was more linear story, maybe. Any major decisions they took is an unfair opinion. I don't think it's unfair to feel differently about the Seekers because they were my least favorite. But I would argue they were not the most linear. I think the most linear was definitely the Soldiers. Theirs was like, we want to fight Casimir and find Sid. And they went, fight Casimir, find Sid, head back. Seekers were like, we need to find out what this vision was about that Octus was, do this, and then they got there, and then they explored over here, and they went there, and then they were in Tanazar, and it was like, oh, what is this? And then they traveled all around inside of Tanazar. I mean, they were both kind of linear in that regard, but I think the Soldiers were more like a straightforward quest. That's my opinion, at least. Steven says, I'd like to know why Hal didn't talk to the Halibars the whole arc. They're the reason he has a hallowed round. Go kiss the ring. That's also, yeah, like he was definitely kind of avoiding it. I wonder if it'll come up that Murray tried to pass on Wick's grandma. I wonder how he'll react. Oh, that's true. I wonder if that will come up with them, where they'll be like, hey, by the way, I tried to change the fates on your grandma, but unfortunately she wasn't dying. Corky says, I like the battles in the Seekers, but it just felt like most of them were at the wrong table. Yep. Boneyard says, I hope they don't speed run the gala aftermath when they come back next episode. Yeah, and they did say that like next time they're going to start with the exact moment that we ended on. That's what was said in the cooldown, was like, no, we're going to end, or we're going to start the next episode here, not just like skip ahead to something else. So unless they end up changing that by the time it comes out, we will get to kind of see that aftermath. Yet it is says, that's why I like following CR via the podcast. The episodes are chopped in half, so it's less time investment. Ooh, okay. Yeah, it's not a bad idea, but it just means that it's you're committing so much, like so many years to be like caught up to everybody else, though, because you'll always fall like a little bit behind. Another source that I've thought about doing is like a Critical Role podcast. What if I just turned some of these things into podcasts, like put those out there, do a little Critical Role podcast? Jaeger says, I wonder what level they will go to if it takes 25 episodes to get everyone leveled up. True. I wonder if they'll even get to 10. Maybe 10? Could be it. Since CR Bridge has wrapped up C3, I expect they will shift to C4, which gives a way to eventually see it in a time-friendly way. Also true. Yeah, if they do that, I think that's a good play. You can also watch my recaps. I wonder what is better, the schemers exposing the Photark or bringing out Octus and saying, we did it first. Imagine. Mitchell says, who do you think the identity of Hollis' mistress is? Crazy twist, but it was actually Armis. I don't think it's anybody we know. Yeah. If I'm going to be honest, I mean, I've been asked that before. I don't think that is anybody we know. I don't think we've met Hollis' mistress yet. That's my take. My guess is we have not. Winkler says, Seekers felt like they were playing for 2 weeks, even though it was like 3 days. Soldiers had the best timeline, I think, and hit all the classic story beats. I agree with that. Austin John over on TikTok says, who would you like to see together for a group if they reset them? I just want the Seekers to be split up. I want Julian, Taisha, and Octus to all be in different groups. Bayless can go with Octus. I'm fine with that. But I want them to be split into other groups. I don't want those three to be together. I'd even be down. Like, I would lean towards being down for maybe Julian and Octus, but even that I don't love. I wonder if they will mix up the tables a bit. I mean, Wick isn't really worse, so maybe he joins the Schemers. Completely possible. Yeah, to be clear, with this conversation between Steven and Trex, what I think they were saying is the Halivars blessed or gave Hal the blessing to take the Hallowed round. Basically, they had it and they gave it to him. They were like, "Here, you can have this." I think is what was being said. Not that they literally blessed the ground. I like that idea for a Critical Role podcast. I'd subscribe for sure. Well, again, the downside is because I do these, you guys would just be getting a lot of the same discussions and stuff like this. And solo podcast would probably be kind of difficult. I don't know. If the play is the big confrontation, there's a danger the ending will be rushed. How many total episodes are they planning for? 50, 100? Many more stories available here. Yeah, I have no idea. I have no idea. We don't know how long this is going to last. Let's play do prediction about the new tables. The problem is that on YouTube, my poll, like, I can only choose 4 options for the polls. So I can't put all the characters up there and be like, here, build your own tables, because YouTube only lets me do 4 options. They might level everyone after all the coming together episodes. There might be another level after that, but that would be fast. I mean, if you assume there's only like 3-4 episodes right there, and you're splitting between all these different people moving around. Bonnier says, good to hear they are starting right where they left off. I think there is a non-0% chance Murray calls out the Photark right there in front of everyone. That would be very dangerous of her, but I also think it's possible. Plot twist, Armus turns out to be Tayor in a flesh suit. No? Only Tayor is Tayor. Now, Austin said, I'd really like to see all the OGs at a table with Matt. So you want you want everybody to come together and shake up the tables, and then it just be the original cast members all on one of the tables? Full campaign would be like 2 to 3 years, yeah. I felt like Octopus was the only one actually seeking for most of the time. Towards the end, it definitely felt that way. He was very much trying to understand and build stuff like that. Build your perfect Seekers table. Thimble, Julian. I guess Tayor can go to Cadigan. Go to seek out information about the Golden Orchard. There you go. That is my Seekers table. Dino says, it occurred to me that Hollis's mistress might be Wick's sister. That's probably wrong, but I thought I would throw it out there. Yeah, somebody else has said that. I don't know if it was you or not. Marilyn Terps, what's up? Do we think it is likely to condense tables from 3 to 2? No. I would love that, but I just don't see that happening. They position this as a West Marches campaign, 3 tables. Like, if, you know, again, that doesn't mean they can't change their mind, but I don't know that they would change it as quickly as that. Like, oh, 1 arc. All right, we gave up on the 3 table thing. Especially because they're recording in advance, so they can't change things on a dime. Because if they're like, oh man, after the first arc would be a great time to do that, too bad, we already recorded past that part, you know? So that makes that difficult. Dispel says, I also really want Sid to be okay. Get him out of stone form and keep him alive. Rented torturing PC siblings too much. I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to be fine. Mitchell says, speaking of leveling up, when do you think Abria will take time to actually level up, since she did level up in either the Seeker's Arc or the Schemer's Cold Open? Maybe during the conversion, so she's not behind. I think it's completely possible that, like, she gets a good role play moment and decides to do that. Kevo says, do you think Wick is going to reveal himself to his family when he returns? I predict he reveals himself mid-play. I do think he'll reveal himself. I don't know how. I don't know if he'll kind of try to sneak back in and pretend like he's a part of the family, or like he came to terms with it and try to take them out from the inside, or do it differently. Let's see. Logo says, oh wait, I don't want to skip. Daniel says, ideal seekers for Daniel is Belair, Julian, Valus, and Thimble. Logo says Wick and Taisha would be great for schemers. Quirky says for seekers they want Taisha, Hal, Taor, and Thimble. City Honors, welcome in. Trek says, do you have any theories regarding the pain in Thjazi's plans and the weird evil Belair felt early on? I do not know anything about the weird evil Belair felt early on. It could be that the Hallowed Round is a source. Like under the Hallowed Round is kind of where like the undead are sitting. And so maybe that's related to like the whole idea that maybe the paint opens a portal, or like, my theory is basically just stuff we've been told. If the paint is kind of the opposite, the negative version of the Night Song, and the Night Song helps people be ferried toward death, toward the afterlife, then the paint would be able to help bring things back from it. So I think it has the possibility of bringing forces from like beyond the grave into life. So it could be a way that Taconis could bring undead into the world. You know, they have an army there. They have all those souls. I'm going to bring them in here. They fight for me. It could be something else, but that's certainly a possibility when it comes to that. And so Thjazi and them, they took it from them. They stole that from them. So then it's a matter of, well, did Thjazi have a plan with it, or did he just want to keep it away from the Taconis? In which case, why would you take it into Dalmakiar and hand it to your brother? So that kind of makes that iffy. It could also be that it's just one of the potential doors or keys to get him back. Doors or keys to like help set up new ways into the afterlife so people can continue to move on. There's a lot of possibilities. When Claire says, I don't understand why the Halavars would give Hal anything considering he's Thjazi's brother, even though he wasn't wrapped in Thjazi's plots. Nikki says, I wonder if there will be a battle at the Golden Orchard or wherever the Seagate is. At some point, maybe. Yes, Connor, the tailgate is going to be next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific. Astrid, I'm trying to understand what you're saying. Do it like tiers 1. Each tier slot is a table, and we vote character at a time. I don't think I'm getting it. Cameron says, Sam said at a recent convention that their convergence went on for about 8 hours, so my guess is 2 episodes. That sounds about right. But to be fair, maybe not, because some of their things, like if you take out the cold opens, which are normally like somewhere between 10 and 20 minutes. So the total runtime of some of their episodes is about 3 hours and 30 minutes. So you take out the cold open and you're down to 3 hours and 10 minutes. You take out the ad break, there's another 10 minutes, right? Now you're at 3 hours. Then they do the whole, so yeah, so I mean, 3, 9, if one of them was a little bit shorter, or 2 of them are 2.5 hours instead, which may not happen, then you might be able to fit in 3. But yeah, 2 to 3 would be my guess. Taryn says, in regard to the Hallowed Round, I feel like the Hallowed Round is city/civil property, and the Halavars pushed by Wick greased the wheels in the council to give Hal the right to use it. City Honor says, I miss OGs at one table. I wouldn't mind that. That's fair. But then, like, again, would people really tune in to the other table? I like new blood mixed with OG crew shapes out the dynamics. I agree with that. Even if it's like you do want to see some people together. Dr. Caliban says, the question for what new tables is what new goals? Golden Orchard is 1, more scheming Damakiar is 2. I would say going to help Gus would be 3. So who does what? Yeah, I think that's the thing, is like people, like when you're just splitting people into like their titles, it's like, well, the title isn't important. What's important is what their goals are, which is why I said, like, okay, if people want to go to the Golden Orchard, here are some people I could see doing that. Right. And then the scheming is probably still a big part, but the third one we don't know. So. Yeah, I also said, Christopher, I also felt that the schemers are the ones that are most likely to not change up, but I think it depends on how this play goes down. Like maybe Hal leaves after the play and he's the one who changes things up. You think it's possible to condense it into 2 tables? I think it's possible. I don't think they will. Something looking glass for seekers. Possibly Vlad, but we wouldn't get, like, all these people aren't going to be in Discord. I mean, there's 108 people in here on Twitch alone, another 7 on I'm sorry, on YouTube alone, another 7 on Twitch. I don't know if there's anybody on TikTok right now. Don't forget to like, guys, like $70 a second. That's true. If you are hearing my voice, click that like button. It's a thumbs up button right under the video. Go ahead and do that. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, it's free. Click that sub button and go ahead and type something in the chat. I don't care what you say. You can say NERDCORE, I hate you. You can say NERDCORE, I love you. Just type something in the chat. That way the algorithm pushes me out. And I can put food on the table. The problem is there needs to be a group of Seekers, but Seekers need to be Julian, Thimble, Valus, Octus. Soldiers needs to be Taor, Azune, and Cadigan. Taisha, Hal. Schemers, Wick, Belair, Murray, Tyranny. Oh, why would you think the Schemers would take... well, okay, I know Wick. It's kind of surprised by the Tyranny one with that, but I guess because you think they would be together. Azune will be suspicious as he knew one of the assassins. True. Winkler says, select the 3 tables. It gives more time for players to have their own moments. It's just unfortunate it didn't work out as well for Seekers, but they'll improve. Yeah, I think so. I think it's completely possible. I'd like to see that. I think the Seekers need to change up. And hopefully they've realized that as well. I feel like 2 tables be perfect. Still smaller table and gives more people to play off of each other. Yeah, I mean, if you split it, right? There's 13 players. So your table is 6 and 7 in the original table 7 anyway. But again, I think one of the reasons, one of the driving forces probably behind this, and this is speculation, of them doing 3 tables is it frees people up scheduling wise. If you don't have to be there, but once, you know, for like 2 or 3 days in a freaking 4-month or 2-month period, you get a lot more time to just go do whatever you want. And we already know, they've said sometimes they record late at night, sometimes they record early, and sometimes they record multiple times in one day. So when you're able to just be like, okay, this group is here, this group is there, everybody has way more freedom to do other stuff. I mean, we've already seen Robbie go to like New Zealand for 2 weeks in the middle of campaign 4. We've seen all these people go to conventions. We've seen all this stuff happen because people are just not there playing. So that's another reason I don't think they'll give up the 3 tables, is because I think that's a big part of why they decided to do this, was so people actually played a lot less. I feel like 2 tables. Oh, I already read that. The tables also have to correspond with the cascade. Oh, yeah. And then you literally just brought up the schedules. You could do 3 tables for story arc 1, 2 tables for arc 2, possibly longer group arcs, and then back to 3 tables for arc 3. Yeah, it's always possible that for a brief period of time they do that, but again, it's not something that can just happen naturally. Like it can't just come to a point where Brennan goes, oh, this would be a spot where the 3 tables, you know, they come to 2. No, you'd have to do schedules, producers. Like there's just a lot more to it when you're doing what they're doing. It's not as simple as, oh, the story allows that all of you come together. You know, like there's just more to that because they are a company. It's a business. They're also paying these people. So, you know, if everybody's there, then all that sorts of stuff. Yeah. You said they said multiple times in 1 week? Oh, I thought it was multiple times in 1 day that he said. I honestly believe that's probably what he meant. Even if you said a week, but that's pure speculation. But yeah. Tyranny using this guy self as a schemer would be lots of fun. True. And we already have people who can do that. Actually, they have multiple people. I mean, Hal just did it in the last episode. I want to see the torn banner members all on the soldiers' table. Jeff Hardy says, for the weird evil, could that have been Belair truly thought he was the only survivor? Then what he was feeling was his siblings still around, but maybe being secretly assembled to help Taconis. Could be. Definitely could be. I think Belair and Azune, Thimble, and Julian, Octus and Velos would be the best core members of the different groups. And Vince Seagate is a door to Fairy. Yeah, that's what I was thinking a lot of the time. Yeah, I kept thinking it was that because they kept talking about like the gate to Fairy, and now this is the Sea Gate, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's something completely different. DW says, I think this campaign is set up for some of the players to take a role in the divine voids created from the Shaper's War. Which characters do you think are most likely to ascend to the divine? Wick and Octus, but I don't want any of that. But, I mean, Wick definitely feels the most poised to do that. I want Sir Julian at any table with Azune for my own reasons. Fair enough, fair enough. I like how Murray is suspicious of Theozi's motivations. From the flashbacks, I become more sus of him. I believe his intentions are good, but he reads to me like an ends justify the means character. Yeah, I think a lot of people have felt that way at different times in regard to Theozi. I still think we may get a fourth table or miniseries following House Son Aligar. We call it the Survivor Table. I don't think Taisha will continue the search for him. That would be interesting. I don't... One, please God, no, don't give me a fourth table. A mini series I would even probably be aggravated by because I just want the campaign to keep going. But I would at least be somewhat open to a mini series. But do not give us a fourth table. Swizz says, if the tables were reorganized, I'd go for switching Valus and Teor. Hey, Unknown Valor, thanks for the $5 super chat. Says, the mother that did the fake resurrection is going to claim she jumped in front of the king to take that poison arrow, thus saving him. You think the Photarch is going to claim she jumped in front of the king? I don't know. I think she's going to be like, hey, these people came out of nowhere and tried to assassinate me and King Gus. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure she needs to do that. I think she just wants to draw attention to like, look, the light saved me. Resurrection isn't possible. And yet here I am because of the light. My religion is kind of how I think she's going with that. So go back to what I was reading. Swizz saying, if the table was reorganized, I'd go for switching Valus and Teor, which I think would help both players. I think Valus and... I don't think Valus is ready to leave Octus. I can see where your mind's at, though, to a degree. Blank, what's up, dude? I don't know if you already went into this. What are your ideal table configurations? What do you want to see next? I don't really have... Every time I get asked this now, I basically just say, I want the Seekers split up. Octus and Valus can go somewhere together. Taisha can go to a different group, and then Julian can go to a different group. I want those people to be split up. I think, for instance, the Seekers could very well be Julian, Thimble, Teor, and somebody going to, or maybe two people going to the Golden Orchard. That could also be the soldiers who go do that. Maybe it's not the Seekers group, but I think that I'm not attached to the titles of the group. So I think a group, whichever group, might be them going to the Golden Orchard. I'd be sad to lose Azune from the Schemers table. He played such a vital role. Yeah, again, like, even with that, my mind goes to, I'm not tied to the titles of the groups. I think he can still continue to do the scheming things he's done, to be the person helping to coordinate some of the soldiers and put the message out there for, you know, their new group, the Magpies and all that. I think he can totally still do that while being at any table. I'd be shocked if Hal doesn't leave to save his son. Also, his play won't go well, so he might run out of town. Yeah, I think if anything, once the play is over, he won't have something that's like keeping him there, and he's likely to go. NERDCORE, you're wicked growing on me. Hey, thanks, Pico. Hit the like button. How long have you watched Critical Role? Is there anything you missed from the OG gang all at that table? I've never been this into Critical Role. I've seen chunks of campaign 1. I've seen chunks of campaign 2. I saw episodes of campaign 3. I happened to, like, I was watching live when like Fresh Cut Grass sacrificed himself and all those sorts of things, right? Like, I've seen that. And I've said this many times, I'm enjoying campaign 4. I like campaign 4. Clearly, I watch it every week and make content on it. I get excited about it. I liked 1 and 2 more than this, from what I know of them. And it's got nothing to do with Brennan. It's got nothing to do. I liked when it was still something that felt like people actually playing D&D, and it was less focused on putting on the show so much. And of course, when it was live, and it felt more like, or not even that it was live, but that they showed up every once a week to play versus like a production schedule. Because that's different to me. I miss the easiest way to say it is I think it was better when it was relatable. And I don't think it's relatable anymore to the same degree. I think there are, of course, they're playing, they're all sitting around a table and blah, but like, I play D&D twice a week, but tomorrow I'm going to play my game that I run. Saturday I'm going to play in a game, but it's like a weekly schedule, not a, we're going to knock out a whole arc in this 3-day window and then we're going to go on sort of thing. So that would be my answer to that, if that hopefully answers. I'm also clearly very far behind because of, do you think they're keeping the names of the table? Wilder, I think so. Because they just put all those shirts out. I think so. NERDCORE, I love you. There you go, algorithm. Thanks, City. I would not be surprised if Azune became a seeker to find his sister. That's also possible. I wonder how Wick and Tierney's character development over time. I think they're both going to be awesome developments. Genuinely, I think those two are going to be very impressive because they're starting from such unique places compared to everybody else. Nurik, what's up? With all the tables done with their separate arcs, would you have changed the table layouts for the respective arcs or no? Absolutely. The Seekers table, I'm telling you, the Seekers, in my opinion, they're always the table. I want them split up because I don't think they were good for what they did and for their characters. I don't think that was a table that let them shine and do good. So, and I think the other tables still hold up a little bit. Like if you change 2 players from soldiers into the Seekers and swapped, I think the soldiers are still really good, right? Like if you took Taylor out of them and put Julian there instead or something, I think it's still fine. And I think Taylor would have been fine in the Seekers. I'm going to try to catch up. I also think Sarah has a couple months of episodes in the bank, so that helps. They said multiple times 1 week. Okay, yeah, see, I'm so far behind because I've read that like 5 minutes ago. What is the latest streaming versus filming in C4? Yeah, Bria's going to be having her baby, so that's going to be some time off there. I think Thimble and Tay are moved to Seekers. Julian and Taisha go to Schemers. Azune and Hal go to Soldiers. The rest of them, I don't know. I think they filled all the cold opens for a single table in a day. Well, they described it, I believe, with the cold opens is that they record them all whenever, and then they're not recorded day of an episode. They're not recorded to match an episode. They just record a bunch of cold opens, and then they go, put that one on that episode, and put that one on that episode, to where they think it might go. I love Tierney as a schemer for entertainment purposes, but let's be real, she would be found out in a day. That's true. I also think she'd be a terrible schemer. Or she would suddenly have to not be herself, right? Like the Tierney that we've gotten for the entirety of the campaign so far could not be a schemer unless she suddenly had a different personality. Would you assume Wick and Octa's cover is blown by divination spell? Should the players assume that they're always being watched and heard? Well, they've also gotten some stuff to help not be watched now. I think there's 2 items floating around that can help with that, but it's something to be concerned about. P-Wog, what's up? Seagate, I don't think the drowned men were very Fae-like. True. Secret 4 table, absolutely not. I want a Shaper's table for a mini-series. That'd be pretty wild. Mitchell says, how do we know that Wick and his dad are the only Asmar? Imagine if Wick's siblings are also secret Asmar since they also have their father's celestial blood. I mean, they would be. Like, if Wick is an Asmar, then his siblings would be Asmar as well. Right? It would be funny if Algar just rolled up into Dhalmakiar in the middle of the convergence. Oh, you guys are looking for me? I think that's fair. Gadriel says, when do you think one of the houses will actually make a big swing at another? I think that could be coming up soon. I mean, this was a big swing. Everything that just happened at the gala was a big swing. And I think now more things are going to start to go because, for instance, the Cormorants think the Taconis did something with Lady Cormorant. The Einfasen also are now looking towards the Taconis because of the like planted evidence and all that sort of stuff that the schemers did. So it's getting to that point where like multiple houses are starting to eye one another. So definitely could be coming up soon. Also, welcome in. Forto will claim she's the primary target because of how important she is. Mr. Realistic says, wild theory. Perhaps the hallowed round is the locked door in a primordial prison for Azune's bloodline, and Asger was using the sacrifice to maintain the bindings. Ooh, wild theory, but an interesting one. Did y'all discuss what your theories are for opening night and different? I mean, that's something that happens most times we stream. Is like people start to talk about what they think will happen at the play and stuff like that. Do you think the next arc will get guest stars? I don't know about stars. I could see like one table getting a guest. Sure. The Vacationers table. Parody Steve, in regards to the gauntlet, says, didn't the Argosians depart with Haranas Einfasen right when Gus and Yanessa headed off to speak? And right before Argosians seemed to have tried to kill them both. He's got some explaining to do. I don't remember. How do you think the Photarch will change Howl's play, especially after her whole stunt? I don't know. Because I don't know what is in the play. Like, we know the theme, right? Like in Failed Orc Rebellion, but we don't know the bits and pieces of it to know what could be changed. Eugenie says, I think we get 0 table swaps at most. 1 soldier, 1 seeker swap, Julian and Thimble. More likely they swap letters looted, soldiers to Houndsport, seekers to Baradels. Yeah, I am now leaning towards people not swapping right now. At first I was like, I definitely think every time they meet back up, it's going to be swaps. But then now I'm leaning towards not happening. Is there an episode tonight? No, Arjesic. Nope. Tonight is an off week. After every single arc, they take a week off. So soldiers took an arc, episode off. Seekers took an arc, episode off. Schemers ended their arc, episode off. It's different productions of vibes for sure between both DMs. Yep. But I don't think it's the DM's things for production. I mean, they built a whole different way of running the game. I'm worried that Azune will lose his job since his sister tried to kill King Gus, so that could force him to leave the city, change tables, but he seems pivotal. To be fair, who knows that that was his sister? Nobody knows that was his sister. When the convergence happens, do they choose a name for their united faction? We need a group name sooner than... That's true. That's true. I wonder how much brainstorming they've done. I wonder how many... They probably have a group chat discussion about what to name their people. When is the tailgate? The tailgate is this upcoming Tuesday at 7 p.m. Pacific. May 19th. What if Soldier and Schemers are all in the city and players from either table come in and out? That'd be interesting. Mitchell says, we have Vox Machina Season 4 coming up. We just got Season 1 of Mighty Nine. You think we will eventually get an animated version? I think it's possible if these continue to do well. I think it's very possible. But I also, isn't it like factually correct that the third campaign had lower viewership than the rest? So they may not want to do that because of it. But they also, there's a lot of people who watch Vox Machina Mighty Nine who don't watch Critical Role, and so they wouldn't necessarily know that. And so they just market it as like the next campaign or the next story by the same people who brought you Vox Machina the Mighty Nine. The people might watch it anyway. So completely possible. I know people have talked about or hinted at the idea that maybe there's like a Calamity movie that could be in the works, or at least has a script and is being pitched. So who knows? Watch Critical Role since first episodes. They're still adjusting to Brennan as full-time DM for CR. Yeah, that's definitely going to be different. Yo, it's a bug, Bakma. Gotta watch Playoff Hockey. Murray MVP. Hey, let's go. There are rumors of an animated version of Calamity that could be in the works. Yeah, see. Let's see. I'm skipping ahead a little bit. Murray knowing that the Photarch was faking it is a huge piece of power in her pocket. How she used it in her advantage is the question. She saved Gus, so she'll be listened to by him, I think. Yeah, but it's also like, does Gus have enough on his side? Like, if the houses band together, at least some of the strong ones, does Gus have enough people on his side? Because it's quite possible, like, the Halo bars are with the Dakonis, and they maybe also have the Argosians on their side. So like there could be a lot of people against them. I also would love to see Joe appear in this campaign as well at some point. And if he's Sid would be cool. Yeah. I never try to say his last name, Manganiello, whatever it is. Joe Manganiello. I suspect it would be subtle swaps, like just trade people. Shows up to steal the night song. Yeah, wouldn't that be crazy? I know I don't want to see the table swapping info we already know, but I really want to see everyone's reactions learning the info because Lost MG. No, it's not that I don't want to. I don't want it to be all of it. Like, I don't want to watch 3 hours of them telling each other the stuff that we just watched them all find out. That's what I don't want. If they bring up certain plot points and try to do all that, like I'm open to that. What I will say though is if they decide to do that, and it's possible they do, that is going to be an incredibly boring episode. Like it just will. Like if that's my prediction is if they're like, hey, once every so not next episode, but let's say the episode after that. Let's say episode 27 is where now things have calmed down. They're all together, and it's 3.5 or 4 hours of them going, hey, we learned this. Wow, that's crazy. We learned this. That's insane. We learned this. And it's that for 3.5 hours. It's just going to be boring. It's just going to be boring. That's my take. Use the ABC tier as available options, and we vote on each tier for their tier. I'm down to do some polls. I don't want to do one that's complicated. So if you guys would do some other polls that have 4 options, I'm down for it. I don't know if Tayor or Thimble would swap tables only because I have a feeling Laura and Travis want to match their schedules. Again, that's completely possible. Yeah. Daniel says, Campaign 3 includes Vox Machina and A99 characters, so it does make sense that we want to continue the story with another animated show. True. We had Divergence in Exandria Unlimited, now we have the Convergence in Aramon. True. Also factual. Have more credit in Brennan that he will progress the story and rehash old info. Yeah, I mean, I think, again, I don't mind them sharing some stuff and doing some of that. I don't want 4 hours of it. Oh, you know what they could do for fact in regards to updating people? They can do the seat shuffle. Like, they start sharing and Brennan starts going, while you share, we cut to... Maybe. I suspect when all the tables check each other's notes, BLM will give them more information as subtext. But he did have Murray get some of the info from her augury to help get the sharing somewhat done a little bit. Yeah, that means good. But again, if they don't know that, they'll go to start saying, and then she'll go, oh yeah, I know that too. Or, oh, that connects to my vision that I saw, right? Like, we don't know how it's going to play out. This is going to be one of those things that is probably discussed pretty heavily outside of what we're watching. That would be my prediction, is that they're going to go over how this is going to work. Like, they're probably going to have a meeting, and they're going to, like, as a cast, to be like, hey, this is how we're going to do this. This is how this is going to work. Something like that to make it flow better than watching 13 people try to pass information between each other. Thing is, the PCs established they don't watch the other tables content, so I don't know how they're going to relate this new info without it boring us as viewers since we know everything. Yeah. Surprise Travis and Laura at the same table. I assume one of them's got to watch the kid at some point. Great idea. Have Louise / Azune make a list of everything, all the various tables distributed to one another. It's kind of, that's true. He could just have a list. You just have a list. It is somewhat a thing to concern with, especially since the cast says we don't watch the other tables. It's almost like, but please do, so you can be caught. Exactly. It's one of those things where, like, I understand why they're not doing it, and I do think it helps. Like Louise said in the interview, it helps them make decisions without any sort of meta knowledge, even if they're good to not use it. Like, when it's in your brain, you might. But at the same time, then you get to these parts and you're like, no. They'll get sent the lore document. I mean, it's completely possible that they do. Like, it could be in Danny's job description. Like, part of what she's going to do is piece together the big parts of lore and give them like bullet points and be like, this is what will be passed around between you all. These are the things you should be aware of now. Or, I mean, some of the stuff they don't share, right? Like, they probably are only going to try to be passing around like the big information. You know, not like, oh, this, that, and the third. Like, they don't need to go into full discussion about every detail that they discover. They probably don't need to talk too much about Dr. Talter, and they don't need to talk too much about Hawthorne's Glade and Olbed Morn, right? Like, that stuff isn't important to share with everybody as much as, you know, the big stuff. So I guess that's one way to view that. Danny, as a guest player, give her a role so she can catch everybody up. Just jumps in and is like, I am the all-knowing. All right. Nice. Our my tier list is up to 8.5K. The Louise interview is up to 11,000. Heck yeah. She's definitely giving them information. How much, I don't know, but she definitely work with Brennan and see what fits. I agree, AK. I agree. There are plenty of guests in the past who just slot right into the lore and info, so I doubt it'll be a problem. Yeah. Jacob says, but C3 has spoilers for what happens in Mighty Nine of Vox Machina, so if we get... Oh, that's true. Yeah, you can't, because it literally is after those stories, right? Like, it starts with those having already happened or something, or close to it. So yeah, that makes sense. If anything, it would have to be after they concluded, or they'd have to change stuff, right? They'd have to, and I think they're getting more willing, much more willing to completely alter stuff to fit what they want to do with animated shows and stuff like that. I think that's totally valid, Winclair. I think that's totally valid. I would agree. I think Campaign 3 probably is overhated. But that doesn't mean that it's better than the other two, but it's also just not as bad as people try to make it out to be. I think that's a completely fair and valid criticism with that. I started that. Yeah, but it doesn't include them though, right? Like, they're not in there. Yeah, we wouldn't get C3 until we'll have to see when it concludes. I mean, we literally see Caleb as voice of the Tempest from the first 30 episodes. Danny guests as Mara the Wing. She supposedly can turn into a falcon, which should be used to explain her ability to spread information around. I don't know to spell. As in, like, Vox Machina? Is Vox Machina in any of the early parts of the Mighty Nine? I mean, like, in 3, Vox Machina and the Mighty Nine are, like, a big part of that story, right? Like, they're a big part of that story. But Vox Machina isn't a big part of the Mighty Nine, right? So it said, no worries, City Honors. I'm glad you watched it. I can't believe you watched a 2-hour interview multiple times, but I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did. Not in my okay, but then yes, that's what I was talking about. Is that they're not in there. That's me. Yeah, that's what I meant. That's what when you said that, I was like, am I wrong here? Like I don't think so, but maybe you had me question. I was like, what? What did I miss? How much? Okay, here's a question because maybe I'll put up some more polls depending. If you were not here for the community voting stream, put a 2 in the chat. If you were not here, if there's enough people that weren't here, we'll do another vote. Like we'll do like the favorite table vote. We'll do like stuff like that again. But like so many of you were that like I'm gonna put up votes and they're like the same votes. But there are a lot of new people, then we can change things up. So if you were not here, throw a 2 in the chat. Looks like right now it's just Taryn. J Habit says, did they state what the plan is for the tables going forward? Are they going to continue with a mix of multiple tables? I think, yeah, they're going to stick with the 3 tables is what I believe they're going to be doing. Yeah, everybody lie. Right now there's just 2, Taryn and Vlad. We did a community voting stream where I put up a bunch of different polls and stuff like that, and we pulled a bunch of information so people could, we did favorite table, favorite story arc, based on tables. We did a character tier list for the community. There's a whole live stream for it. I think we did another thing or 2. But all right, there's a couple of 2. So I'm gonna throw this poll up. Of course, if you already voted in it, you can still vote in it. Like there's no problem with that. I don't mind that at all. But we'll throw up another poll just to get stuff going. We'll do the normal. Which table was your favorite? And we'll go in the order: soldiers, seekers, schemers, I hate everything. All right. There is the poll. Feel free to answer it. What is your favorite table? Soldier, seeker, schemers, I hate everything. The poll is up. So go ahead and select your favorite table. Can we do a poll for each character where we say which table we think would fit each character best? Oh, wait, it's only 3. Ash, yeah. But again, I feel like people are tying to the titles of the groups a little too much. Because, for instance, like you could be like, who goes to the Golden Orchard? Is it the soldiers or the seekers? Right? Like you can say the players you think are going there, but in terms of which group is going there, don't know. Should have been I love everything. No, I didn't want people to click it. Pretty sure seekers can't ever win no matter how many times. Yeah, I just want David to know that. That's all. Oh, it's not on Twitch, Taryn. It's not on, yeah. Can you do polls? I know you can do polls over there. It's just more complicated. I have to like go to the dashboard. Yeah, I do not have it up over there. It's all together here. No, that's true. I mean, nothing says that 2 can't. I like never do stuff on Twitch anymore. I'm like struggling to find where this stuff is. Stream together, raid channel, manage predictions, sub only chat, manage goals, manage poll, create a new poll. I'm literally doing this, I think, just for you, Taryn. I think you're the only person over there. All right, there we go. For you over on Twitch, you'll be the only vote. I know exactly who you voted for. Groups can be shuffled too. Yeah, Leak. It's just it looks less and less like that with some of this stuff, but it's still possible. For instance, like they put all the faces on the shirts for the groups. Something somebody said, one of the people made it seem like they were still that group. So there's that. Oh, there are more people on Twitch. There's 3 votes. 2 people said schemers. Somebody said seekers. Who the heck? Speak now. Twitch person who said seekers, speak now. Swap heads. Silence says LOL. I can find it in my Critical Role episode notes, which are available to anybody who's a member on YouTube or a patron on Patreon. You get access to all of my notes from every episode, which I use to make my recaps. So the Black Rabbits, Clawny the Thorn, Clawny the Rose. A Kelpie told them. I don't remember if I think Brennan did name them. And it might be in here somewhere. But I don't see it at quick glance. I do think it was mentioned, like their specific name was mentioned in something. I'm sure I can find it somewhere else. Kettle Hobbs? Okay, there we go. Yeah, Kettle Hobbs are a type of helpful fairy known for having 2 heads, using one of them at a time and carrying the other one. The other, until unpleasant circumstances make them change it, becoming Griggs. So they become Griggs when the heads are changed or whatever. Yeah, Kalani the Rose was the kind version of him. What's up, Monday? 3 for schemers, 1. There we go. The poll was up over there. Let's see. So the poll over here, we have 45 votes. 106 viewers, only 45 votes, guys. Get your votes in. Vote for your favorite table. It looks like right now 67% for the schemers, 24% for the soldiers, and 7% for the seekers, and then 2% hate everything. The major villain for a massive part of C3, Lunas and Caleb and Bo are hunting him. Okay. The overture should have birthed fourth option. Oh, you think instead of that, it should have just said overture for the 4th option? Schemers because it has Murray, my queen. I just got an idea. Adventures of Daring Timber Grade animated TV series after VM is fully completed. That would be neat. Okay, here's a poll for you. Rate the combats. Which is the best? Seekers versus Team Prophet, Soldiers versus Basilisk, and Schemers versus Assassins. Okay. Who was Team Prophet? Like Tersha? Or... All right, so we'll go ahead with 50 votes. We'll call it Schemers win by a landslide. Seekers suck, 6%. Best combat. Seekers versus Tersha. Yeah, who's Team Profit? What am I missing? Team Profit. Oh, on the bridge? The demons on the bridge? Okay. Seekers versus Sisters and Taconis. Soldiers versus... Who do we want for the... We wanted the soldiers to do the basilisk fight or the fight against Casimir? Love versus the accents. Yeah, leave a like, everyone, like Steven said. And then the schemers. So for the schemers, we were gonna do the assassins versus instead of like the sewers. All right, there we go. That's the new poll. What was the best combat? There's the poll. Best combat. Yeah, the expression city honors for that was awesome. Would for Overture for sure. I love everyone together in the table shuffling for scenes. So I'm reading up on chat. Bound Bob says, are you planning on doing any content surrounding the upcoming season of Legend of Vox Machina? I would like to. There's just like, what types of content would you like to see? Like, I can react. Like, I could give reviews. Like, I could say I loved this episode or I didn't love this episode. Admittedly, I wouldn't be able to super compare it to like the campaign because I didn't watch that deep into the campaign. So I can't be like, oh, I love this. I can just, or like compare to the campaign. All I can do is be like, I liked this episode. I didn't like this part. I loved this part. This was funny. Like I could react to them, but I don't know what other kind of content I could make regarding that. So if you have ideas for what I can make, yeah, I'd love to. The Darrington Brigade one shot was even better knowing that they were all sleep deprived. Well, definitely Sam. Demon Bridge battle was memorable mainly for its goofy moments. It was also just a really cool setup fight, to be fair. Yo, what's up, Debs? I'm starting to think people have recency bias. There is 100% recency bias, yeah. Just in general, I'm not even looking at the results. I don't know, but in general, like when people talk about the people on the schemers, without a doubt, and it's hard not to. Again, we haven't seen the soldiers for months of real life time. We haven't seen them. So yeah, Regis, thank you for subscribing to the channel. I appreciate that. But yeah, so there's no doubt that some of that is coming into play. These comments, I will say, kept me engaged for each table, though there was some story lags at times. Combat moments had a lot going for them. I think the actual combat parts, like I think the schemers combat in terms of like the surprises was the best. I think in terms of like moments of like Tayor or Cadigan like jumping off of the ledge and like tackling the person, and the scene, the idea of like Casimir and Thimble like walking up the staircase, dueling each other, getting to the rooftop, like that, all that is insanely cool. And then I liked the battlefield of the Seekers. What was the first thing that was done? I think it was a fog or a mist that Taisha cast on the bridge and then also asked if she could intimidate them with it all of a sudden this was intimidating, and like that's what led to like none of them pushed through the fog. I liked that battlefield setup. But yeah, it looks like Schemers versus Assassins is up at 55%. Soldiers versus Casimir is at 33%. And the Seekers versus the Sisters and Taconas is 11%. Fog Cloud. But again, that was one of the first things that threw me off, where it was like, oh, I cast Fog Cloud. Also, can I have the Fog Cloud intimidate them? What? And he was like, yes, you can. And then they were intimidated, and it changed the whole dynamic of the fight. Yeah. Oh no, Boop, I agree. I've said this before. I think the combat designs in campaign 4 so far have been excellent for the most part. Even the one where they fought the dudes in the sewers, the Schemers did. That was a cool idea, where there was like multiple entry points. You could come from above. You could have the option to like sneak there or do that. You could, like multiple. Yeah, they've all been designed in really, really good ways. I 100% support that. Season tier list. Yeah, maybe watch parties or reacts. I don't think you can do that. I think I could do reactions. I don't think I could watch party. Something like I could do something like that in Discord. I couldn't do something. I don't think I can literally live stream me watching Amazon Prime. Actually, I don't even think. I think I tried when I did videos on the Mighty Nine. Amazon Prime has something that doesn't allow you to record their video player. So I couldn't actually record footage to do B-roll, if I remember correctly. I had to take all my footage from like stuff they put on YouTube. You're in D&D nerd. Do some videos analyzing the combat, talk about moves, talk about moments where you might choose differently. For the animated series of Vox Machina? Mm-hmm. Brennan does do combat very well. Yeah, they were cool combats. And I mean, to be fair, we got to give credit to the map designer too. That came out in the Lore Keeper's Ledger, where they basically said that, like he gets kind of told, make me a thing with the sewers, and that guy like designs how it could work and stuff like that. So shout out to them for doing that. The most brutal takedown on Kaz is really cool. I agree. Ramith is also welcome in, dude. Steamers still have better combats than Soldiers or Seekers. I mean, Soldiers had some cool stuff. The Seekers fights, the Tersha fight was cool. The Tersha fight, them not being long rested, made that one to where it was more of like we're going to lose, and then like they just didn't. But it also seemed like that design was cool, where it could like fly them up to these high points and do all this stuff. Like I feel like that had potential as well. Ernest Judge Shoulder for Schemers. Or for Seekers. Yeah, I'm down for that. I'm down for that. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this one up. It looks like 53% Schemers, 37% for Soldiers versus Casimir, and 10% for Seekers for Sisters. Let's do. I'm gonna play some NPCs up here. So we're gonna do. With the Soldiers, we're going to do the Hounds. Seekers, Dr. Talter. I don't know if it's T-A-L or T-O-L for now. But Schemers. Do we want Dimidus or do we want King Gus? I mean, I could do a specific. Yeah, we'll do a specific one. I'm going to say Hawthorne because he's the best. Hawthorne Hound. Dimidus. I'm going to add a second one from the Soldiers and just say Cloney Yeah. All right. There's the poll for favorite NPCs from different groups. There's 2 up there for the soldiers. You have Hawthorne the Hound, Dr. Talter, Dimidus, or Clonny. And I mean, if we're being honest, we all know who's going to win that. Thick fog is spooky because it limits your vision. You could just stumble on a sword if it is thick enough. No, I know, but that was just like, that's a very powerful thing to add on to an already really powerful spell, at especially at like those levels. And yeah, I don't know. That was like a you don't stream, you just count down to when you all press play together. Yeah, I think some of the problems with that is I'm not the most animated person. You don't see it? Try refreshing, aka. So like if I'm watching it, you know, there might be moments a smile here and there, but I'm not like oh, that's insane. Oh, like that's just not me. And I'm not gonna fake it. So I don't know. I'm torn on that, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe I could do something like that and just say, hey, we're gonna get into this. We're gonna watch it together. If you're interested, and then do that. Who knows? Could just watch with a timer on your screen, but it's okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Could record your own face watching the show, but that would be weird. Yeah, well, that's what I'm talking about. It would just be like you guys watching. I mean, we're watching it together. You guys are pressing play when I'm pressing play. But again, I'm just going to be sitting there. Yeah. Cause the intimidation on the bridge. I don't think so, Ryan. I'm pretty sure the spell was cast, and then like Taisha cast the spell and asked if she could do that. I'm almost positive. I could be wrong, Ryan, but I'm almost positive that's how that happened. Andy B, what's up? Over on TikTok, what characters do you think should pair up in future groups, and what characters should? This has been asked 37 times tonight. My main thing is I want the Seekers split up. That's basically it. The easiest way to answer that question without like getting into a bunch of stuff every single time is to just say I would like Valus and Octus can go off with a different group, and then Taisha can go to the second group, and then Julian can go to the third group. I'd even be down like Octus Valus go this way, Julian Taisha go this way, as long as there are other people that can help like balance that. But that 4 need to break up, in my humble opinion. Yeah, I thought about putting Olben Morn on there, the old guy that Tyranny stole, the gnome. I did think about putting that on there, but yeah, as soon as I put Hawthorne, I was like, Hawthorne wins. Yeah. What's up, Lucid Skulls? I'm stuck between Kalani and Hawthorne. Yeah, it's tough. They're both awesome, but we got more out of Hawthorne. Zach Spears says, do you predict that we will get players mix and matching tables? I think if we do, it'll be way less than I originally thought. I originally was like, oh yeah, they're gonna like come back together and we're gonna see like, you know, 6 players change up. And now I'm thinking more like maybe 2 or 3, if that. What? Mixed Game, thanks for subscribing to the channel. Thank you. I think we're in here for the last stream, I believe, unless I'm crazy. Thanks for the sub. If anybody else hasn't already subscribed, guys, it's free. Click that sub button. Get more of me in your feeds. Feels super cool, but Brandon to go, you know what? See you, Conjure, just slopping up, then came in at 20. Yeah. Has anyone died yet? No, nobody's died in the campaign. Some people have said, like, technically, and they'll be like, oh, well, Octus had died and something. No, nobody's died in the campaign. But for Dimidus, he's a cool illusion wizard and just a goofy little guy. He is a goofy little guy, and he's a lot of fun, Ramathez. There's no doubt about that. David says, honestly, Nerdcore, it'd be stream watch, just build community more about chat than your face. Are you saying to do something like that, where it's just like me watching it off the thing? Yeah, I mean, I get those ideas. Thoughts on Azune and Murray's relationship? I've seen people read it as romantic. At first, you don't see it, but I enjoy their dynamic. I think it's possible. there was a moment or two where I thought, oh, maybe this is a little deeper. Maybe it isn't just like we're friends. You know, I think there's a deep care there. Whether or not it's romantic or not, I do think there's a deep care. What do you think of the various villains so far in this campaign? Any favorites? I'm a big fan of the Photarch. Primus is cool and all because he like ripped, you know, he like freaking went into somebody's head and ripped their skull out. That's always cool. But I am a sucker for like a scheming old lady. And the Photarch, Yanessa Halavar, is a scheming old lady. Like somebody said, she's like Lady Tyrell from Game of Thrones in a way, but I think vastly more evil. And I don't know. I loved the change up and how she's just like that whole like meet your grandfather. Like it was just like, oh, that's epic. So she's up there for me. Okay, well then Dispel, where did the intimidate come from with it? You said she didn't ask. What did he just go roll me and intimidate, or someone mentioned battle maps, maybe a poll on which had the best ones: Soldiers, Kaz Castle, or Basilisk Dungeon, Seeker's Bridge, or Darkland Places, Schemer's Masquerade. Sir Guiding Bolt that made them go prone because she missed it for the 100th time and Brennan felt bad. Oh. Thank you for doing polls again. No problem, no problem. For Brennan was like, sure, I'll lean into it a bit. And that's when he made it go, okay, let's bump. Okay. Yeah. I don't think Seekers need to break up, just a clearer, more unified objective. That's fair. I genuinely do. I think they need to break up. Or they as a group of players need to be like, I don't think we're doing the best job with this. Because they were vastly the most disliked table. I think the entire campaign saw a dip in viewership with them. And I think that, like, if you're putting on a show, you have to look at that and go, we need to change something. Compared to the other two groups, it was just so starkly different, and not in an equal way or a better way. Again, just me, just my opinion. And you're allowed to have yours. Other people are allowed to have theirs. I know David really liked them. That's totally fine. I think they need to change to keep people from leaving again, from further drop off and stuff like that. Either they need to adjust what they're doing and how they're doing it, or they need to switch up players. But I am just one man on the internet with one opinion. I liked the fairy who gave Thimble the clue about Tayor's brother. If we pull battle maps, I need visual. Can't remember half of them. Yeah, that one would be a little bit tough, I think, to do. Not even Gaia. Oh, well, no, I think they were asking, he was asking about players, not like random. Yeah, lots of NPCs have died. NPCs and monsters have died. Was terrible but sick at the same time. Exactly. Parody Steve in regards to the Nama. I wonder if Tayor knows anything about the Argosian ambassador lion folk. What, you think all lion folk know other lion folk, dude? Is that what we're saying here, Parody Steve? For Lynette 20, I feel like I got to give you more. Fair. Deb says, funniest moment when Thimble said she found matted fur as a lie, then forgot it was a lie and tried to use it to find Tayor's bro. Yeah, that whole thing. All right, so it looks like the Hawthorne wins for that poll. Who do you think the BG will ultimately be? I don't think we've met them yet. I think it's somebody we haven't met. I think it's potentially the Shapers again. Or something like that. I completely agree, AKA, but I think this wasn't a, oh, people fell behind drop off. I think this was a cause due to lack of enjoyment drop off. That's a drastically different thing, right? Like I said this, I talked about this a lot last night, I think. Maybe it was in the last Critical Role stream. I think the Overture had a drop off. because it was a lot. And I got out of all the content, I got tons of people going, this is so much to keep up with. This is so much to keep up with. It's a lot. It's different. It's not matte. It's not whatever. So there's a drop off. Then it kind of coasted with the soldiers. And then we got to the seekers, and then it dropped off again. And so I'm not talking about the natural, yes, over time, like people fall behind, life changes, stuff like that. I think this was a product issue drop off. But that's just speculation. That's just me going off of what I'm seeing, the comments I get on my content. Nobody commented during the soldiers saying, I stopped watching because of this. I got plenty of comments of people saying, I stopped watching during the seekers. So, yeah. That's where I get that from. I still think one or two people change up help dynamic. I love the vibe, but clearly is not gelling with most. Yeah, exactly. That's what I think. The one or two changes, yeah, or two or three across the board is probably good. Old Druid that had his knife stolen. We don't know that Olbin Morn is a druid, do we? Right? He was just a no mount in the woods. Olbin Morn. There's a little tower. Seekers just seem to be going for higher incredible conflict. Higher drama, it falls flat for me. I just feel like the characters haven't meshed together. It feels strained. Pull on best weapon of the top four. We've seen thimble, sword, dagger. Oh, yeah, we could go with something like that. Let's just go coolest weapon. Yeah, no episode for Critical Role this week. No episode for Critical Role. Let's go with they'll be back next week. They take a week off after the end of every arc. Zach Spears, thanks for subscribing to the channel. Yeah, at the end of every arc, they're going to take one off. So Soldiers ended, they took an episode off. Seekers ended, they took an episode off. Schemers ended, they've taken an episode off. Next week, they'll be back, and it will be with the table starting to come together for another one with like everybody around. All right, the weapons, thimbles, toys, toy sword. You can hang out with us today and talk about it. Let's see, Cadigan's. What was that thing called? Is that the proper spelling that you used? The axolotl or something? I don't think that's right. Cadigan's weapon, Critical Role. I don't see it. There it is, Atlatl. Atlatl, that's what it is. Atlatl. Velus's flail, right? She's rocking a flail. That's pretty cool. And then are we just going with Liar's Blade? Howl's Liar's Blade? All right, we'll do that. There we go. New poll for favorite weapon. All right, catching up on chat. Who wins in a fight, Murray or Cadigan? Random thoughts. Murray. No. Spells are powerful. Cadigan has a whole extra beast that can attack her at the same time, and she doesn't have the armor class to not be getting lit up every time. She would just be getting smacked, I think. She'd have to beat them very quickly. And they... Oh, no. Dude, they have flanking in their game. They're using the optional flanking rules. Cadigan and him will literally just be able to come up and flank, beat the crap out of her instantly, unless she hits a hold person, right? So there's different things. If it hits the hold person, then like that changes the dynamic. But if she doesn't and they get up on her, she's a goner. That's two people with advantage attacking you, like you're gone. It's over. Hope the reason isn't just because there's conflict between the Seekers. No, I don't think it's just that. I think it was pacing. I think it was pacing. Eagle Vision says, I think it was group cohesion. I think it was the pacing, and it was the fact that there was no levity, right? Like the other groups have people that bring some humor. Murray brings some humor. They all also have good above table humor amongst each other. Like they joke around a bit. The soldiers, of course, had plenty of it. That was the schemer I was talking about. The soldiers have plenty of it. Wick, Tyranny, the other people also good jokes above table. And none of that existed. There was nothing that broke the monotony of the Seekers. It was tense the whole time. So you're watching drama between players or characters go at the same pace for hours with nothing to split it up or change it. That was it. That's my take on it, at least. Scripted Girl not doing, already answered that. Murray with an IDC ain't winning anything. Yeah. Side note, thank you for having content in between episodes. It's something to look forward to while anxiously awaiting the story. I'm a huge fan of the story. I love what Brennan has created. No problem, Denethrin. Yeah, I'm trying my best to keep it up, right? Like we're doing these live streams. We did the community stuff. I posted, of course, my tier list. The live stream tier list from the community is also up. So you guys can watch that. It's 3 hours and it has a bunch of these polls. It also has a whole character tier list that the community voted on. I mean, we brought in like over 100 votes per thing almost. So a good number of people were doing that. So that was a fun one. And then of course doing this stream, I did my own tier list. I did a little bit of a breakdown at that sort of reveal by Brennan, the mistake. I want to do some other stuff too. But yeah, I am trying to kind of be a place that the critters can hang out and all that. So the interview with Louise, if you guys haven't seen that yet, go do that. Yeah. Don't do any more rankings. Already got into an argument with someone because they didn't like invaders. What does that mean? What are invaders? Helps with the withdrawals. He was a gnome that could cast a variety of spells and lived in the woods. It's not a big stretch to assume he's a druid. I don't know, dude. Ozane's Warhammer ready for my latest scheme. I thought about doing that because it looks really cool in the images, but right now it's like just a Warhammer. Okay, here's a poll that won't compete with people. Ask critters what they would most like to see. Like one thing that was resolved in convergence. What would it be? Ooh, but I mean, again, you got to give me some options. But here, Evereye says, glad I found this place to hang out during Critical Role off days. Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. I tried to do these regardless. Like, of course, there's always a pre-show, right? This is the normal time I would do a pre-show, 7:45 to 9:45 Eastern. But because there's no Critical Role tonight, we just did an off-week discussion where we're just talking about anything and everything, and that way we can still hang out and chat. Boop, it comes out this coming Tuesday, May 19th at 7 p.m. I see people have already answered that because I know I'm behind in chat. Wish I knew what the weapons look like. Make choosing easier. Fair. She has a lot of HP and shield. Yeah, she's better on the HP part in that regard, but yeah. Oh, that's true. If you have a hold person and you have a portent that you can use that's a low roll out the gate, that is really solid. That is really solid. Do you think they will include the live shows in the animated Vox Machina series, some sort of epilogue? That would be interesting. Would be interesting. A weapon, I remember he tried to use it and it failed. No, it's an arrow that he can get off of it. The wolf doesn't use a weapon. Pacing killed Seekers for people, I believe. The characters are interesting and had things gone better, it should have been great. Yeah. Yes, the conflict amongst characters wasn't punctuated by anything. The moments of connections weren't strong. Seekers are great. I feel it's more Abria hate, to be honest. No, because I'm not an Abria hater, and the Seekers were dreadful for me. To me, it was not. If you go look at my tier list, I am telling people that I think they're coming at it wrong constantly, somewhat in defense of Abria, because I think she's getting a lot of flack for stuff that wasn't her fault. I've said this time and time again. She's playing a Loy. Not only a Loy, but a Druid of the Old Path. The Einfazens wanted to talk to her privately. The Druids wanted to talk to her privately. Wanted to know this. Like, the people that Brennan had in the world, the places they were, they wanted to talk to Taisha. That's not Taisha's fault. It's not Abria's fault that everybody wanted to talk to her. And then when she's not being spoken to by them, when she talks about, oh, she's talking again, it's like, it's not her fault. It's not all her fault. So I defend that all the time. And yet I did not like the Seekers. So I don't think it's, I do agree that some people, yes, they were like, the Seekers sucked. It was her, you know, whatever. But like, I can tell you from my point, I didn't like it from that. I will also say Lucid, because you said is just sexist or racist. That's not true either. I do not believe that every person who doesn't gel with a Bria is a racist misogynist. I don't. Point blank, it's just not true. People like different types of players. I'm not saying that some of them aren't. It's completely possible. Some people, that is actually it. Racist misogyny. I do not believe it is all of them. It's just not. So, yeah. And that's all I'll say on that. Partially, I think Seekers fall off because they really only ended up finding a big monster, some lore info. The tables were much more immediately important, feeling accomplishments. Almost 3 a.m., so I'm head to bed. Appreciate it, Debs, for leaving it up and you hanging out. Enjoy the rest of your night. So late, it's all good, Dragon Drake. It's all good. Type more than paragraph, but I have a word limit here. Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm doing apartment renovation, so I have you in the background and catching up on your last breach. Hey, let's go. Meteorologist, wasn't he observing the storm wreck? Yeah. What I mean by invaders is some loud people don't like change at all. The one person who gets flack for everything is Bria. It's not because females get more flack. I mean, it can be somewhat. Because like me, I'm getting called abrasive and too loud all the time. You are a lot too, though? Sure. It's okay to not enjoy someone's play without it being racially or gender motivated. Yeah. Again, I think it could be out there. There's no doubt. It's undoubtedly that is a factor in that. But I also hate when it's just a blanket statement. Like somebody goes, I didn't like that this person did that thing. Oh, well, it's because you're this. Whoa, you know, like I feel like that's a bad method in general in life to just immediately like blanket, like boom. Sure, I feel like you definitely see it. I also have moments where I'm not with the Brie, but it's really just a seriousness or a tone thing at times. True. What you're describing about the Seeker sounds less player initiated, engaging with immediate objectives and plot surrounding them and reason girdle. I still like the Catting and Wolfric pick. Critical Role release on the left side by Catsini is the quiver. Yeah, on Wolfric, right? Yes, I'm saying he carries like the arrows because he describes like the arrow that like sits in and all that sort of stuff. But I don't think Wolfric is shooting arrows off of his body. Like I still think Wolfric is like a bite and claw kind of wolf. I'm not sure. All right, let's look at the votes. We have 49 votes for coolest weapon, and it looks like Valys's flail is 51% of the vote, which is, I mean, her flail is cool, to be fair. Her flail is very cool. The Liar's Blade at 24%, which is funny because we know like nothing about it, and it still got it. Thimble's Toy Sword at 18%, and Cadigan's Atlatl with 6%. All right, so we'll end that poll. Kind of like a lacrosse stick, yeah, in a way. Octus should have said, have you considered that you're the bad flower in your family tree? When she gloated, no one in her family is bad. Ooh, fire. Here's another poll that you could do. Which cast member would we like to see you interview next? Oh, sure, why not? You put Matt. Oh, wait, you told me to pick. No, I'm just picking. I'm doing the order you put them. Matt, Brennan. All right, Matt. Wait, why did I put Brennan twice? What did you put? Matt, Brennan. Oh, Travis. Laura. All right, there you go. Pick who I'm going to, who you would like to see me interview next. Demi's starting to think, no, you're good, Lucid. You're good. I mean, I try to steer clear of these conversations because people are going to feel the way they feel, and I don't want to argue with people about it. You know, it's kind of like I state what I state. I do genuinely believe that some people just don't gel. And it's not because of, you know, this and that. But I also am fully aware that those things exist, and some people that is the problem. And like I said, Taisha is not my favorite character. Not close to my favorite character. But I can also look at it and go, some of the stuff that people hold against her is not her fault. And so that's where I'm like, you know, I cannot enjoy her character as much as I like Murray, but I can also be like, okay, you're holding that stuff against her. That was actually Brennan's fault, not hers, right? Like that sort of thing. That was actually Velas's fault, not hers, but she's getting blamed for it. But yeah. But again, I don't want to continue a conversation about Abria and Taisha. So let's go past that, because that's just not where I want my content to be. Yeah, and I also would tell people are like, oh, they're miserable with her at the table, and it's like, brother, they chose to bring her there and are paying her. So that's where we'll end it. No more. I would also say, yeah, also with the Seekers, Lady Aranessa was feeding too much info. It was also a massive lore dump where a lot of it was just monologues from Brennan, and I think that was a big problem too. Pull for coming in clutch moment out of each table. Thimble and Basilisk Dungeon, Marisha with Gus or Howlin Mind Control guy, and I guess Taisha with Octus and first Schemer fight, bringing him back. I don't know if I love that one. I don't know if I love that one. A lot greater range than Throne Spirits. Yeah, no. I remember when he was first describing it, people were looking into it. And I mean, it's neat, for sure. After 11 years of Critical Role cracking each other up, Brennan can be too serious sometimes. I definitely miss making my way being a running joke. They've still done it. I feel like I've heard them do that. I was gonna say, I feel like they've done the making my way thing. All right. Do we think King Gus will believe them about the plot? Yes. Undoubtedly. King Gus is going to believe them. What can be done about that? Like, what else can come of it? I don't know. But I 100% think King Gus will do it. All right. In terms of who would you like to see me interview next, it looks like Brennan is winning with 43%. I think Gus is a human. That's how he's been described. I think it's just like a big burly human. But if anybody else hasn't voted, maybe we show this to Brennan and see if I'll say, dude, 35 people. Well, actually, not even 35. About less than half of that. So we're gonna round it up to 36 to make it easy. Yeah, like 16 or 17 people think you should be my next interview. What's up, it's Strick? Welcome in. I think the Brennan lore dumps were driven by the players not pushing enough and diving into the loot enough in the first couple of episodes. They had to force lore reveals. I don't think so. I think that was the fastest way to get them a bunch of information, and I think they also just had too much Lady Aranessa. Brennan snitches what happened right before they start. Yeah, whenever they try to like catch him off guard. I don't think Murray should reveal the Photarch's deception until they can use Zone of Truth. Even then, I think the chances are low. Yeah. Who was the lion for last episode? Just somebody wearing Argosian minister clothes. So either an Argosian, which makes sense, the lions from Argosian stuff. But yeah, we don't really know much about that person. I thought they got named. I thought they were Gorson, but then somebody commented on my video and said that Gorson was the executioner, and I must have just like missed that and heard the name and was like, oh, that's the Nama, the lion. But I guess Gorson was the executioner. I thought Gorson was the Nama. So I lied in my recap. Warhead, welcome in, says, how are the Seekers going to handle Granny Halavar when she was pretending to be hurt? You mean the schemers? Yeah, that's not bad. Here we go. When did you first start watching Critical Role? That's the new poll. Go ahead and answer that poll. It's right there for you. Jump on in there. Answer that. When did you start watching Critical Role? The newest bitter joke I've really enjoyed is Brennan telling us what the player state is for coming back from break. Yep. Photarch is probably too strong that she can resist it. I would expect, yeah. I think she's probably at least Lady Cormorant level, if not stronger. Can wait for scenes of Murray explaining about death saves not being made so she wasn't resurrected. Yeah, like, how do you explain that? I tried to change the timeline. It didn't work. Like, how do you explain I used a portent dice and tried to infiltrate her death saves in game, you know? Having a moment conversation in third and so geeky, yes. I again, sometimes I can understand that, and I'm speaking at this generally, not about a particular person. But to be fair, that has happened with several people in this, and sometimes it's called out, like Brennan has said, they're doing this outside, like this is somewhere else, and other times it hasn't. So yeah, but you know, it's not like that's to one person in general. Well, maybe one or two people do it more than others, but yeah. Anyone else giggle a tiny bit at Brennan and Mercia both choking on almonds called Loso's back? Yeah. This is your first. Let's go, Rubber Room. Heck yeah. The other CR campaigns were entirely too long, so C4 for me. I watched D20. Fair enough. Started in 2020 just as Campaign 2 was ending. Watched it 3 times in less than 6 months. You watched the entirety of Campaign 2 3 times in less than 6 months. How? Does the poll mean that campaign was live when we started watching, or does it mean that was the campaign we started with, even if it was late? The first campaign you watched. The first campaign you watched. What got you into Critical Role? What campaign did you start watching Critical Role? Blank says, if I'm being honest, I started with Exandria Unlimited Calamity, maybe a bit of C3, but I couldn't keep up at the time. D20 is great, but very different flavor. That's important, Sir 4, Photarch vs. Son of Truth. True. I started watching a year after they started, probably right after Problem Player was asked to leave. Okay. The King Gus fight was so well played and weighed against the Seekers. Do you think... You mean the Schemers? Do you think Brennan planned for Gus's death and now has to pivot? No. I think he planned for his death. I think he also planned for him not to die. And I think he also, like, when he said the thing about he had all these flow charts for what could happen, I believe it. I fully believe he and his team, right? I'm sure he has a person or two that are helping him to some degree. They had kind of mapped out where the campaign could go if this, like, if they defeat King Gus, it can go this way, and if they don't, or I'm sorry, if King Gus dies, it goes this way. If he survives, it goes this way. If he never gets up and he's poisoned the whole time, it goes this way, right? Like, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff communicating secrets. Yeah, a lot of people have said it, but it's normally there's enough context for me to realize who they're talking about. But yeah, it's happened quite a few times, but it's not a big deal. Technically, Vox Machina animated show got me watching Critical Role and was during campaign. Really? You got it from the animated show? That's cool. Poor Marisha trying to explain it. I saw all possibilities, all features past this moment, and I saw she was faking it. It's so funny because she was like, it was written. It was always written. And then it pops up like, text not found. It was never written. It's like, no. I want to know the person who looked or was similar to Taylor. Was he blackmailed to do, or was that have loyalty to the Photarch? Well, again, I think a lot of the Lion folks are from Argosia, and Argosia is, you know, not allied with Timony. Like, Timony broke away from them. So I imagine that, you know, they're on the other side of the battle. Wakander and his grandma about to have a brand new perspective on each other. True. Tried to do campaign 1, but just couldn't manage to stick it. Why is that? Started campaign 1 when C3 started and eventually caught up. Whew. It was always on. Yeah, it has to be. Quirky, you just got to be going. Oof Dad says, what is everyone's favorite NPCs for flavor? I liked the red hat, or the red cap, the fairies that swap heads, the giant blind eagle, the hounds. Yeah, we did a poll for favorite NPC a little bit ago, Oof Dad, but it was only like 4 options. It was like the hound, Dimidus, or I'm sorry, it was Hawthorne the hound, Dimidus, Clonny the rose, I think, or maybe I didn't include him, because it was like I was trying to pull an NPC from each table, and then I don't remember, but either way, Hawthorne won, no surprise, when it comes to that. But to answer that for me, Oof, I really liked Hawthorne, the red cap, the whole love triangle between Tayor, the red cap, and Honeysuckle was so funny. The black rabbits were the, you know, Clonny the Rose with the head swapping was awesome. Even the giant blind eagle, alter, I can't remember his name. I can kind of see it, like I know it's like an alter or something, but yeah, they were all fun. Warhead says, I'm loving Marisha's character. She's playing Murray excellently, even while hiding on their desk. Agree. I think somebody said they just finished the Critical Role abridged. I don't know what that is. It abridged or abridged? That is now done for campaign 3, I think. Rubber. So yeah, I guess now they're out there. I started with C4. I was really, Daniel, I didn't expect that. I did not think C4 would have been your first. Not at all. That's interesting. Irish Haven, welcome in. Or Iris Haven. Couldn't Murray say she was trying to use port instead of the Photarch, but she realized her life wasn't even in danger? Yes, but how do you explain? What we're trying to say is, like, how do you explain roleplay wise portent? Like, how do you explain that you were altering the timeline? Right? Like, that's kind of, I think, what we're going for is, like, it's a tough thing. Yo, what's up, Kathy? Welcome in. Just got watched from back in the blab. Let's go, Habs. Hey. I found C2 after heart surgery right at the beginning of COVID. I went back and watched C1 while I was recovering. Well, dang, dude. Glad you made it. Let's see. Estrella, welcome in. Do you think that the probability of Octus dying there was skewed, though? Like, 90% chance he's dying, so, like, he would have had to roll a lot of 18 plus? Wait, what do you mean? It was planned for him to die and become a reborn or hallowed one, whatever, I can't remember. That was planned. That was what he was going to make, and then Brennan was like, can I kill you in game for that to happen? Now I think they tried to say that there was like a super small percentage chance that, like, he could have really died, but it was a super small percentage chance, and it was yeah. But that was like a 99%, it was just going to play out exactly how it played out. Watch all campaigns to prep for New York City Comic Con CR events. Went all 3 days to pop up shop, New York City Comic Con panel, the Radio City wedding event. That's awesome, City. Heck yeah. Back in my day, the audio was still analog. WB says, a lot of people got into CR during COVID. That was campaign 2. I remember seeing them isolate during the game. It was so sad that they couldn't go poke and hug each other. Yeah. I started Critical Role on season 2, episode 1. I saw a Twitch channel with a ton of viewers and poked my head in. And then you were like, boom, I like, did you do D&D before that? Or was that like your introduction? Well, that's going to be my next poll. All right. So first, let's look at the results here. When did you start watching? 36% of the 65 votes. Go ahead and vote now. If you haven't already voted, tell me when you started watching Critical Role. But it looks like right now, most of you, the majority of the people in here, or at least the ones that have voted, started in campaign 1. Or at least that's what they watched first, even if they weren't watching back in 2015 or whatever. Next up is campaign 2. 19% started in campaign 3 and 19% started in campaign 4. That's pretty neat. I'm going to leave that one up for now. And I already forgot what my question was that I was going to ask. Oh, yeah, my next poll. I'm going to leave this one up for another minute or two. Again, if you haven't already voted, do it. Is going to be... Okay, I typed it out so I can remember. Surprised the different channels people found CR, the 404 of the universe. Exactly. I watched Legend of Vox Machina before watching any campaign episodes, but as far as campaigns go, 4 is my first one. Okay. Taryn says, I started with YouTube Shorts. The length of the campaigns put me off for a long time. And then I watched the Legend of Vox Machina animated season 1. And I started watching from the start of campaign 1. So I started campaign 1 and 2. But this is the first campaign I've seen live. Got it. Why did all those messages come through twice? Okay, Ash, that was not terrible. I don't know why I worded it like that. I don't know. I have the one lined up for sure. I have a poll I want to ask. I'm in the UK. May I ask if there's a new episode tonight? No, unfortunately not, Gore. No, not tonight. They are taking it off. They take off the week after an arc ends. So they took off after the soldiers. They took off after the seekers. And now the schemers just ended. They're going to take off this week. But you can hang out with us and talk about it. Kind of candy is so fun, but left avoided me. It kind of pushed me away from the goofy RP and got me into CR. D&D Nerd says, I liked campaign 1 and 2. I didn't enjoy 3 that much. 3 was, it was kind of weird from like episode 74, but 91 with Sam was a tearjerker after that. Matt seemed tired. Interesting. Yeah, alt ladder or whatever. Yeah. Think Wick will sacrifice himself to save and free the angel in the basement? Elizaro, I definitely can see him sacrificing himself. I don't know if it'll be to save and free the angel in the basement. Yeah. Watch first season of Fantasy High, then go directly to Crown of Candy. I think I couldn't do campaign 1 because there was a lot of their game stuff that happened before they started streaming, so we're missing history on the party. Yeah, that was definitely it. Abridged, got it. Started watching since campaign 3 and I absolutely love it. Let's go, Allie. Put my head on people, put my hat in people. Is you seeing the future, right? Not you writing it? Correct. Just don't watch COC without watching something else first. Yeah, I think it's a combination of the two. So I said correct, but I think it's like it's more of like you can see it and try to alter it, right? So like you can see the future, and then the important is you get these like sort of 2 chances to like make it shift or change. I think is the best way. Yo, what's up, Frecky? Everybody's chatting over on the YouTubes, but I have all the chats pulled together. You can see here. So if you want to respond to anything, but what's up, dude? I've watched since halfway into campaign 2. All right. So yeah, we'll go ahead and call this poll. So with 83 of you voting, campaign 1 is the winner with 37%. And now we're going to do another poll that I'm very interested in. So let's go ahead and wrap that one. There we go. So the new poll is: did Critical Role get you into D&D, or did you play before? You played before, CR got you into it, you haven't played, or you don't want to play. Those are going to be the poll options. So go ahead and throw your votes. I haven't watched all the way through since Campaign 1. You'd probably still really enjoy Campaign 2. And then once it got more produced, it can be a little different. I wonder if Murray has some type of mind thing where they can see what she saw and they need some type of communication advice to keep each other in the loop. That would be interesting. Heck, I found this site and you guys are cool, so it's all good. Let's go, Gorbash. Sam was winning some other's name speech. I saw that short and looked up C1 episode 1. Watch everything since then. Oh, what a moment. What a moment. Started playing D&D in junior high school, 77, 78. Ooh, nice. First or watch first. Yeah, that's what I was going to do. Oof, yep. Ali says, I actually found CR after watching. Oh, yeah, I think you said that before, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, so you played BG3. Had you played D&D at that point, Ali? Or was it like you played that and then you were looking into D&D and you found Critical Role? Let's see. I actually started watching D&D with Acquisitions Inc. long before CR, but as soon as I found out about CR, I was hooked. Yeah, they nailed it, especially in those early days. Also, Ali, I feel like you probably know this because I've talked about it a lot, that they are doing, 2 of the cast members, Neil Newbon and Deborah Wild, are in a new actual play called Dungeon Masters. That is the official D&D actual play. Like, D&D is putting on that actual play. It's in their studios. It's all that, which is, it's good. Like, it's genuinely, I've been enjoying it. We've been doing watch parties on Wednesday nights. So for anybody interested in that, I have some content around. I did like a review of the first 2 episodes. And Alex Ward from Critical Role is currently in it. He's a guest star. He was in the last 2 episodes. And it looks like he's going to be in the next one too. So if you guys like Alex Ward from Critical Role, he's in Dungeon Masters. They're shorter episodes. The majority of them are about an hour and 5 minutes long. One of them is an hour 40, but those are still half the time or less of Critical Role episodes. So I recommend checking that out if you guys want to see something. It also is helpful to, like, they have pop-ups for like learning the game. It'll like explain a spell when it pops up, or it'll say insight. When somebody wants to make an insight, it'll have a pop-up on the screen that explains what an insight check is, which is quite nice. I started Critical Role later. My ex-manager suggested watching Dimension 20, and I started with ACOC, then watched all of D20 stuff, then watched Matt on the Bloodkeep one. Then I said Critical Role. Sean O'Brien, welcome in, says, started after Campaign 2 ended before Campaign 3. 3 was my first live campaign, but 2 was the first I watched. Then I watched 3, then on. Umbrus, welcome in. Started with Campaign 2, heard of them from Campaign 1, but didn't really start watching until Campaign 2 came out and got me super into D&D at the time. Let's go. I do like that. I do like that it brought a lot of people in when it comes to that. I'm almost caught up on chat, I think. I lied. I'm not at all. Holy. All right. So if I missed your message, I'm going to try to skip ahead. And you guys are just going to have to retype it. I vote for another answer. I don't play, but knew and like to watch my friends play for years now. Oh, okay. Sierra definitely got me into D&D around that time. The Elroy brothers had their D&D game going at the same time, and I had a massive obsession from all the content creators releasing their games. Blank says, I discovered D&D from some random anti-capitalist Brennan TikTok. Yeah, let's go. I was like, what's this? And went into Fantasy High without knowing what D&D was, getting my first group together years later. That's awesome. Played a little as a teen, but Sierra definitely got me back into it. Let's go, Mama Hun. Megan says, I haven't played, but I have been watching a lot of actual play after engaging BG3 Hyperfocus. This coming from someone who has never played a computer game outside of The Sims and Zoo Tech. Oh, let's go. So Megan, you got hooked by BG3 and then just got into all the D&D actual plays. That's awesome. Do you think the chances are good that Tayor's brother will be freed? Yes. Yes, I do. Murray and the Magpies could try and start churn up the rumor mill, start gossip that the death was staged. Oh, 100%. I think they'll definitely do that. Oof, Dad. I played D&D in elementary school and then to get a chance to play again until over 20 years later. Zach Spear says, I'm DMing my first campaign, Rime of the Frostmaiden. What was your first campaign? My first campaign that I played in like a consistent game for an extended period of time was a game at a comic book shop in the game club in the back that I played every Wednesday from 6 to 9 p.m. As far as I know, it was just a homebrew game. But I had played sparingly before that, like the D&D Red Box. Like these things here. This is what your character sheet looked like. I did play like the story that's in here at some point as a kid. That's my name right there on the sheet. Like literally, what was I playing here? This is old. Yeah, I was a cleric. I was a neutral. I had a 2 armor class because it was Thaco. Yeah, so there was that. Let's see who. Oh, somebody didn't put their player name on here. I don't know who this is, but there's another character sheet for somebody else. Could be my brother's handwriting. Oh wait, no, this is that's Tay. So maybe that was Charles. Yeah, I don't know, but either way, I did do this. But that was old. Yeah, you guys can't see it, but on my shelf over here, at the top there is where the Red Box books are. And then I also have Advanced Dungeons and Dragons on this shelf. This is Advanced D&D. And then I have 2nd edition Advanced D&D right there. But the shelf heights aren't great, so it's hard to actually get them out. But yeah, hold on. Maybe with some lighting, you guys might be able to see them a little bit better. Help at all? Yeah, so you can at least see the covers of those books and all the different minis and stuff like that. So I have the Player's Handbook and the Dungeon Master's Guide for all of those editions. And then here I have, that's a bunch of 5e. And then I also have 3.5 stuff. 3.5 stuff right here. I have Hackmaster, Star Wars, all that stuff. I know this is not what you guys are here for, but let me live. Now I have to skip ahead again because I'm sure I fell behind. Also, if you guys are new, please subscribe to the channel. If you like Critical Role, if you like Dungeons and Dragons, you like nerd culture stuff, some video game stuff like BG3, subscribe to the channel. Also, give this video a thumbs up. So just go ahead and click down. It's right there. Sean O'Brien, thank you for that sub. Yeah, definitely do that. Appreciate you guys. Also, if you want to support me continuing to make content like this and trying to stay full-time as a content creator, consider becoming a member here on YouTube. That will also give you access to my Critical Role episode notes that I use to make my recaps. So at any moment, you can go Control F in the Google Doc, type in, Talter, and it'll, take you to all the time Dr. Talter said stuff. And all that jazz. It also just supports me, so consider becoming a member. You can also go subscribe to the Patreon. So like that, super chats are also helpful. So yeah, there you go. Let's get back to it. D&D coming back into fashion was not on my bingo card, but here we are. Drunks and Dragons is my first real play. They changed their name to Greetings Adventurers. Were those legs? I do have legs. Murray and the Magpies is a killer band name. That actually is pretty solid. But where? Yeah, on the YouTube channel. Like I said, that's where, as you can see from the chat, most people are on YouTube. There's like 117 people on YouTube. There was like 140 until I stood up and went over there. And people said, this guy has legs, and like 20 people left. But all right, so let's take a look at the poll. Allie with the 5 gifted. If you received a gifted from Allie, first again, Allie, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Make sure to say thank you in the chat. Geeky Vapor, D&D Nerd, Lobotomo, Madame, Allison. Make sure to say thank you if you got one over there. Thank you again, Allie. Really appreciate that. So for the poll, did Critical Role get you into D&D or did you play before? Wow, 68% of you got into it through that. That's actually nuts. So many of you were nerds, freaking nerds. That's all right. I was one of those people too. All right, so we'll end that poll. Thank you, Allie. I really appreciate that. Kevin says, got D&D, just watching some streamer play D&D back in 2012, but didn't start playing myself until 2023. I caught up with CR, D20 in between then. At some point, being a nerd became cool. What a world we live in. Yeah, I don't know if you guys, like in high school, I had long hair and just like a goatee, and I was a chunky person, and all that. So, yeah, I fit the bill. When it came to that, you know, wasn't a cool kid. Let's see. Legs, he has legs, he has legs. Nerdcore, you were DM or as his I'm both. So for instance, tomorrow night, I'm a dungeon master. Saturday night, I'm a player. I think this is what we're here for. Yo, what's up, Atreus? Welcome back. What are we here for exactly? To talk about Critical Role. That's my guess. Gatto, thank you for the follow over on Twitch. Also, guys, if you have Twitch Prime, you can subscribe for free. If you have Amazon Prime, that means you have Twitch Prime, which means you could go to twitch.tv/nerdcoregg and subscribe for free right now. Just letting you know. If you ever went to attend a convention of gaming, BreckleCon in Toronto every March is a blast. RBG Room had over 300 games. I'm going to Gen Con. I went to Gen Con last year. I went to PAX Unplugged. And then this year, I will be going to Gen Con again. But cons are expensive. And even Gen Con is probably not the best idea. But I already committed. So if you DM, I think 3 or 4 games over the weekend, you attend for free. Oh, interesting. Nerdcore is a nerd. What? It's true. It's true. Long hair in college for a time. I had long hair through high school. Again, I know this isn't like an interest, but I'll try to pull up. You're going to Gen Con because that's true. Frecky's going to be there, and that's the real reason. Yeah, I mean, when I went to Gen Con last year, I stayed with the exact same people I'm staying with this time. So that's cool. Good group of dudes. But to be fair, it didn't do a lot last time. Wisteria, thank you for the subscription over there. And Jaya, thank you. I appreciate that. I think this is the best case for being able to show this picture. Let me do this real quick. No, that's the wrong thing. That's the wrong thing. Display count. Why is that not showing? Oh, it's way down there. Instagram. Sorry. Ooh, what the heck? So there was me in high school. There you guys go. Just in case you guys wanted to know. There I am. In all my glory. Oh, I shaved my chin for that one. I had a goatee before that. There I am. That's me in high school. When I was graduating. First time DMing was a Pathfinder game like a decade ago. Okay, started with that. I do not, Sammy. I do not know the Shore of Dreams adventure. Sarah said, "Whoa, glorious hair. I'm envious." Yeah, the hair was a thing. You had better hair than me. I did get a lot of compliments on the hair. I can't lie to you. I did get a lot of compliments on the hair. Hold on, there might be some other ones. Oh, here we go. Here's another classic. This was, oh god, what? The one thing I don't like about using this new thing is this. That was also me. I won't show my brother. Woo! AF5, baby! A fire inside. That's right. There's your boy. There's your boy. So don't ever question my nerd card, okay? Don't ever question it. I was forged in it. I won't show you guys a picture of me looking absolutely jacked. Hold on. Here's another one. Hey, let's go, dude. There we go. There I am. You were born of nerds, molded by them. Exactly. All right, there you go. Let me look. I bet we lost we lost like 20 people. We were like, this guy's showing his Instagram photos. Like, what are we doing? All right. Let's look. Pirate King, what's up, dude? Finally finished up episode 25, and lo and behold, here you are doing an off-week live stream. We have Alleviate, no new episode this week. Let's go. Oh, we 3,000 people this spring. Oh, that's awesome. Sean O'Brien says, as a fellow DM, what's your favorite character trope that you enjoy at the table from players? Ooh. I don't know. I like different ones. I love a justice fighter. Like, I really do. My brother tends to play like the very righteous fighter. Every now and again it's aggravating, but I like the like standard, whether it's a paladin or a fighter, like the justice person who's like, whoa, did you just like kick that beggar? Because I'll lay your guts on the street. You know, like that sort of thing. I do enjoy that. Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know, Sean. What about you? And anybody else? Like, what are your as DMs, like your fun tropes and stuff like that? My first DMing attempt was a Redbox Star Frontiers that I homebrewed. Ooh, let's go. I did listen to Screamo Emo, Mr. Malicious. Oh yeah, I was all over Screamo Emo. It was my jam. Hair like Legolas, I wish. All right, still catching up. Chris said, God, I was friends with that. It's true. Oh, we chatting emo at Gen Con? Dude, went through it. And Tuesday is Call of Cthulhu, to which I've lost 4 characters. And like, Call of Cthulhu is just like that, though. Like, it's just like a normal thing. My brother used to like running Call of Cthulhu, and it was like the whole point of it is just that you lose, so you just die. Like you just go insane or you die. Like that's the outcome. I'm currently actually growing my hair out. My hair hasn't been this long in forever, and it's in that in-between stage that sucks, but like my hair is actually quite long. I'm gonna try to do the like sort of parted in the middle side sort of thing, but we'll see. Because yeah, my sides are never this long. Like they're never this long. But I'm currently in the growing out stage. Just I'm catching up on chat, and there was a comment about missing having long hair. I'd love to see Liam or Laura as a paladin or artificer in the next campaign. That would be cool. Yeah, that would be fun. Meanwhile, cold open with schemers next week. The schemers are going to be starting next week, I think. So I think we'll get a cold open with maybe the soldiers being outside or the seekers coming in. Well, no, I know, but like for instance, this side comes down to like here. So my hair is like this length on this side, but this side only comes down to like here. Because of the way it was cut with this style that I currently have, this side is of course longer because it lays over, or it was the opposite of what I said. Like this side comes down longer and this side comes up shorter, whatever it is. So I need it to grow out so they're both long, and then I cut to match them at the right length. It is what it is. We'll see. Do I miss the long hair? Not really. And unfortunately, I had long hair before like the whatchamacallit, like the man buns were cool and stuff. Like I cut it by that point. I like the chaotic character learning the world. Okay, Sarah. Okay, chaotic. Umber says, I love the chaos gremlins. You can plan for anything, but they always find a way to derail things in the best way possible. I don't love that, actually. It depends. To me, it definitely depends. I hate when people are intentionally trying to screw up what I have planned or what I am thinking of. Or the people like I do not run, like I run hero games. I will say that. I like hero parties. I like, even to somewhat. I do not run games for people who are like, I'm not gonna save the family who's being killed right now. I'm not gonna go, oh, that person got kidnapped, don't care. I just don't know how to do that. I don't want to. And so I'm not great at the people who like, you're like, here's these 3 quest hooks, and they're like, I don't want to do any of those. And you're like, huh, well then go home. Go home. Those are the 3 quest hooks that I have. So like, go home. Yeah. And because I've DM'd, I also see it where like there's a player in the Saturday game that I play in, one of the other players, when he's not DMing, so he is also DM'd, where as soon as something gets to a point where he's over it, he's just like, this can either happen or like, I'm going to leave this. I'm not doing this quest anymore. He's just like, I'm just not going to do this quest. And I feel bad because like I'm empathetic. I'm very empathetic, maybe. And so like all I'm thinking is the DM is like, dude, stop. You're messing this up. You know, like I have that mind where all I'm doing is feeling bad because I'm thinking the guy running it is like, why are you doing this? Stop doing this, you know? Because I like when I'm playing and whatever, like I think you have to view it. The DM should be having fun as well. The dungeon master should be having fun as well. So I think Chaos Gremlins done well, probably fine, but yeah. My friends and I are heavy on chaotic neutral. What's in it for me? I think yeah. And then like, if you're doing that, that's fine. But that means that it needs to be set up in a way where like things are, you know, you're in more of that, like, oh, we pay you gold to go on this quest for us. We give you a magic item. We let you take everything if you go free this person, right? Like, I don't mind there being like a reason for you to do it other than just like, well, somebody approached us with another sad story. Let's go do the quest. But I also just, you know, I don't typically run games where people are like, yeah, I'm just going to ignore all of this. I didn't come in here to watch some dude checking himself out. I'm out of here. Yeah, that's probably what happened. That's probably what happened. I'm shaving my head for charity next month. Currently down on my way. Oh, wow. Down to your waist, Taryn. Holy cow. Version of hair you're rocking now is nice. It's when it gets into the bowl cut stage where it becomes... that's fair. Yeah. I had a bowl cut growing up. We're definitely going to have a long discussion with King Gus. I think so, yeah. But I look forward to that, honestly. So we're going to have a moment where everyone is at the table at the same time next week. Is it going to be more people switching out? I imagine it's probably going to be like the Overture. It could have a moment where there's more. Maybe there's like 8 people at the table, or maybe even 9. But I don't think 13 is going to be there. That's my take. Man buns have never been cool. They were for some people. I just had amazing world building sessions over the last month. Nice. I have no idea what I'm doing for my players tomorrow. I have only kind of figured out up until what they just did, which was a funeral. And now I have no idea what I'm doing. But I'm a day of planner, so like tomorrow I'll take my laptop up to the coffee shop and I'll be like, "Oh my god, Steven, figure this out. Figure this out." And then I'll figure out what they're going to do for 3 hours. NERDCORE man bun is crazy. We were down a circle creating a major event, then everyone thought of a minor event related to the major. We did enough rounds that everyone created 2 major events. That's super dope. Empathy is an important part for DM. I agree. I just dipped into the Wood Creek store this week. I enjoyed it. Is that the Deborah Ann Wall one? That was a very unique thing. Gotta go have fun, guys. Hey, peace out, Allie. Thanks for hanging out as always, and thank you for the gifted memberships. I mean, when I say Chaos Gremlin, I don't mean someone that ruins the story. I mean the folks that will find a creative way to solve a problem you know it exists. Oh yeah, no. I'm told like no problem with that. No problem with that at all. Like if I like do something and then the player's like, "Ooh, if I did this, could that work?" I'm all for it. It's kind of like in the interview I talk about with Louise. Umbrus, I don't know. Is this your first time in here? And did you know I did a 2-hour interview with Louise? It's a really good watch. You should watch it. But one of the things talked about is kind of like when players want to do something that maybe is like not exactly what it would be, like how you can do it. And so I may be like, okay, that's different. That's unique, whatever. Here's what we'll do. Give me this roll, right? Like roll me an Arcana for this if you want to kind of alter what that spell does, or roll me a this and we'll see how it can work. And stuff like that is what I'll normally do. You know, it's fun when you do a D&D you never planned for. Hey, John Michael, thank you for the $2 super chat. Top critical character to have a beer with and go. Well, you see, the problem is I don't drink. But to sit down and have a hot chocolate or a nice Diet Coke with, perhaps a root beer float. Top critical. So the character, not a player, but a character. Oh, man. I should have just stuck to campaign 4 because now I'm going, oh, so there's so many different categories. God, what a question, John. Because I'm like, Jester would be a blast and she would make a scene, right? You'd be there and she would just be like engaged with everybody. She would challenge somebody to play a game of pool at the billiards table and like use a freaking lollipop, and it would just be insane. But then you just think of other really cool people like Grog. That'd be kind of wild, you know? Murray for reasons unknown. Bolaire just to be like, what the heck are you? What's going on? Like, give me some stuff. Azune just so I could shoot the crap with Louise again. God, yeah. Yeah. I don't know. That's gonna be the reasons unknown. That was a fun question, John. That was a fun question. Thank you for that. Thank you for the $10 super chat. So Dispel, the improv thing, that's something I've been actively working on. So I wanted to be a better DM because I was thinking about doing games on Start Playing. And so I was like, I want to make sure I'm good enough for some of this stuff. So there were some big things I started to work on in trial. And some of it was improving a lot more. So just improving a lot more. The second thing was allowing players to have more input on stuff. So like when somebody says like, oh, I'm going to do blah, 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 I'd be like, okay, tell me what that looks like. Or if it's like a piece of lore that's more like it's my world, but like it's kind of related to like their tribe, I might be like, okay, well, what would your tribe's ritual have been for that? Like, how would they handle that? Instead of telling them, right, bringing players in to help with some of that, which is stuff that like they've built into like Daggerheart and stuff, but also so improving more and giving players more ability to like create certain aspects in the moment, or some things that I've done. Oh, Scanlan would be fun too. Scanlan would be a lot of fun too. Like playing toolbox spellcaster is not necessarily the best in combat, super versatile. Otherwise, I'm down for that. And they fit really well in some games, maybe not as much in others, but Grog and Murray and maybe Ashton. Okay. Jester for hot chocolate would also be cool. Beer with Belair because maybe I'd get his beer too. Oh, that's true, because he's not going to drink it. He's not going to drink it unless he's faking it. Unless he's faking it. You don't drink either. Same for me. It's a smell. Same for you. I've never drank. I've never wanted to. I turned 35 in less than a month. I've just never had the desire. I love Deborah. Mead with Fern. There you go. Have to go with Caleb. Fair enough. I meant them playing dual cast, not either or. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, okay. Okay, I get it. Multi-class. Scanlan if you want to get laid, not because of an endless flask. Fern if you want to be robbed. Dinner with Trinket. Oh, Trinket would be nice. Don't like the taste of alcohol. Also hard to remember lyrics, choreo, or lines when you're drunk. Well, big keys for improvs. Yes, and no but. For sure. Well, I don't even mean with that. I mean like, I don't mean like a player says, I'm going to do this thing and you do it, but just sort of reacting. Dialogue, for instance, being really free flowing with dialogue and the direction things can go in those conversations. And instead of being like, this is where you'll go next, kind of being able to more openly handle when the players, you know, giving a wider breadth of options in the moment and just being like, wherever this goes, I'm going to take it. Somebody did say not, but they said for the endless flask, aka said Scanlan if you want to get laid, not because of endless flask, and Fern if you want to be robbed. Also, people saying not would be supporting an alcoholic's problem. So that's why they didn't, Chris. But of course you would, you monster. My problem with improving is I'm fine with it in the moment, but later forget what I said. That is also a problem. That is definitely also a problem. I'll take a wholesome date with Orem. There you go. Ophidian welcome in says, get a drink with one of Matt's NPCs. Bardic Infatuation says, one episode in 3 weeks is so depressing. Yeah, it's just the timing. You know, it's just the timing with the whole, they did the charity stream and then the arc came to a close. They always take a break after the arc ends. So it was just bad timing to basically, like, they did the charity stream, came back for the finale, and then immediately took another one. Wine with Julian sounds like it might go places. Not sure I'd be ready for those places, though. I wonder if the new groups be formed after this. We'll see. I feel like maybe there'll be one or two over, but or two or three that swap. Not as many as I thought before, if any. Will Belair take over another PC? He wants to. Taliesin has outright said he wants to. Whether or not it happens, you know, who knows? But I would drink with the horribly unlucky bandits from campaign 2. Those guys need therapy. The gunpowder merchant from campaign 1. I would imagine if we were getting rotations at the tables, I think maybe less, again, because they just released merch that say like soldiers and they have the pictures of those characters on. And then there was something that a player or two said at some point where there was the cold opener in an interview or something that led me to believe that at least they're still at their tables and reference. And so I don't know. I feel like it's not, I thought it was going to be every time they met back up, we were going to get a good shuffle. And now I'm leaning slightly away from that. I think we get maybe a little shuffle, maybe not, but I don't think we're going to get major, like everybody's changing it up sort of thing. I'm a supportive guy. Give me Chetney. DMs are there to facilitate player shenanigans. The rules serve the table. See, I know what people mean kind of when they say this. I'm kind of anti the idea that the DM's purpose in life at the moment he's DMing is to make the players have a good time. I think it's a cycle. I show up and yes, I love when my players are excited, having a good time, when they ooh, when they ah, when they're like, holy crap, what was that? When after the session, they're like, yo, that was a good session. I love that. I want them to have a good time. But I want also the reverse, right? I want them to know that, like, oh, well, this thing is kind of obnoxious or dumb, and I'm not going to do it because that's not for the DM, or I'm not going to put the DM in the spot that's going to make his job harder, or his, you know, like those sorts of things. I think it's a balance, and I feel like so many people say things, whether they mean it or not, that are just like, no, dude, your purpose is to make me have a good time, and it's like, I know I'm a player in this game. I'm the dungeon master, but that is a role as a player in this game, right? I was absolutely losing my mind at the end of the latest episode, and I have nobody in my life to talk to about it. I was very thankful to have your video with your reaction to watch. Yeah, that's the first one where, like, I did a reaction. Normally, I'll do a recap and then I'll post a review. This one, I was like, I can't wait for that. I have to do a reaction. I was like, I need to get this out. And so, yes, that was just so insane. And there were so many awesome moments and things to give people their flowers for, which is also amazing. That I'm so glad when I mentioned to like, me and Louise were talking about the interview, and he was like, why don't we do it? Because I wanted it as soon as possible, right? I was excited to get an interview finally. And so when he was like, why don't we wait 2 weeks for the arc to end, and then we'll do the interview, I'm so glad he made that call, because it made that interview even better because of how crazy the last episode was. I mean, to be fair, he's probably like 2 months out from having done that episode, or more, who knows? But it was still really cool to be able to talk about that stuff. Another interesting poll could be like most in D&D combat RP loot story, something like that. Yeah. I don't know if I'll do another one because I'm probably going to call it here in a minute. We're over an hour past the normal time, but this has been a blast. But it's 10:50, been live since 7:45. I think the goal is for everyone to have fun, not just players, not just the DM. Exactly, because it does go the other way sometimes. I've definitely been at tables where it's like the DM is like combative with the players, or, you know, it's about like all you're there for is to play through the story they made, and nothing you do, you know, kind of does that. Like, it's, yeah. So I agree. It definitely goes both ways. But yeah, we do the pre-shows every week. The only one I might miss is when I go to Gen Con. I'm not gonna be home. But yeah, we do pre-shows every week, 7:45 to 9:45. If you guys haven't already subscribed, subscribe. Join the Discord. We do have a live Critical Role chat that we do when the episodes are live. We chat in there. It's kind of like the Beacon Discord, but it's free. And there's less people, so you can actually interact with one another, and it doesn't just fly past. So join the Discord. It's linked in the description if you want to join in there and chat. Definitely subscribe to the channel. Used to watch me in the live chat with Dean YouTube sometimes until they turned it off. Yeah, well, we do a live chat in my Discord where people engage and stuff like that. So it's a good time. It's a good time. Yeah, if you guys haven't already watched the interview, do that. You know, as usual, as I wrap these up, if you guys want to help me, subscribe to the channel. If you ever see my videos pop up, click them, let them play all the way through. Even if you're not that interested, that helps with the algorithms. Leave a comment, give it a thumbs up, all that jazz. Thank you guys for being here. This has been a lot of fun. It was an off week, and we just hung out, we chatted, we had a good time, lots of good discussions. I have a Discord. Yeah, it's linked in the description. So Mama Hun, I will respond to this. The one question I wish you asked him was, how long has it been for you since that episode? So before the interview, when we were just chatting it up, I basically said, hey, I have a couple boundary questions. One of those was, is it cool if I ask you stuff about scheduling? You know, that, and he was like, no, I don't think so. I don't think he necessarily has a problem. I think Critical Role probably doesn't want all of that stuff out, as like when do they do this and when do they do that, and how often do they record, and how does it so that is something I would have asked, but out of respect, I kind of had like a list of 3 things ahead of time to say, like, can we touch on this, can we touch on this, can we touch on this, and that's how that went. So yeah. What's the Discord channel? It's linked in the description. The Discord is there, and then when you join, make sure you select that you're interested in actual plays. So for instance, Quirky joined and she didn't select actual plays, so I'm going to give you the role for it. So you chose D&D but not actual plays. The Discord is split up into sections, so like if you want to just know about actual plays, just select that, and then you won't see the gaming channels and you won't see the Magic the Gathering and trading card channels, right? So you can kind of pick what you're into. So make sure you do actual plays and D&D or actual plays. But yeah, guys, subscribe to the channels, follow in the different places. Also, my beacon link is down below. That's where you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, all that stuff. So definitely check that out as well. If you want to follow me on other platforms, that's also really helpful. I'm going to pull that link for you guys right now to post in here. Oh. So feel free to check out the beacons link there. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up, guys. This is so much better than other pre-shows. Hey, well, you know, everybody has a different cup of tea. I'm sure some folks enjoy those, but I'm glad you enjoy this one. It's normally a little more, you know, Critical Role. What are we talking about? What's happening for the latest episode? What's going on in the next one? But since there wasn't one this one, yeah, the Discord's free for everyone. Yeah, it costs nothing to join the Discord. Absolutely nothing to join the Discord. So feel free. Like I said, just make sure you join and you select that. I'm looking now. It looks like everybody's doing that. Yeah, we're getting quite a few people in there. Yeah, completely free. Feel free to join. Appreciate you guys. I'm going to get out of here. This has been fun. Enjoy the rest of your night. Feel free to follow me on other places, and I will see you guys in the next one. Oh, no, Zibby, you just joined. We're wrapping it up. Sorry, we've been live for over 3 hours, Zibby, but feel free to subscribe. Come back and see us.